Hey everybody, how's it going? Happy Thursday. I'm still waiting on Derek, per usual. Anyway, so how's everybody doing? I hope you guys haven't missed us too much. Just kidding. But yeah, it's been almost a month since we've done a live stream, and we've missed you guys. We were just like super out of practice getting it all set up and ready and everything like that. So
what's up?
We're so excited to be talking to everybody, and it seems like there's a lot of folks already in the chat. So just want to say hi to you guys. So all right, let's see. Mary Ellen's on, and Mary Ellen was #1 in the chat.
Is it Thursday yet? It is. What's up?
It's Thursday. And Nick P is on. He says he's had both Pfizer shots now. Yeah, I think he got his second one on the day that we got our first one, which is why we had to cancel or reschedule last week.
Yeah.
For those of you guys who didn't see me post about it. But yes, so we were able to secure our first vaccine shot. And we have our second in a couple weeks, so we are thrilled about that. Absolutely thrilled.
Super excited.
Lori Sims is on.
What's up, Lori?
Yeah, we're about the vaccine. Yeah, we're just really excited about the vaccine. That's for sure. Yeah. And Lori, we're going to be talking about California today on this chat. So I'm really happy to have you on to make sure that we don't say anything wrong. Just kidding. But also just to weigh in on your thoughts on what we're talking mostly about Southern California, which I know is where you're located. So that'll be great.
Howdy, Darren.
And Darian's on. Hello.
In his truck. Daniel Fields, what's up?
Hi, Daniel. Welcome. He said he lived in La Jolla for 6 months.
Beautiful. Beautiful place to live.
We were just in La Jolla.
Yeah, La Jolla
we'll
was
get into
phenomenal.
that too. So right now we're in Palm Springs, and we drove out to San Diego and La Jolla last week. And we're going to LA next week. So it's just a big tour of SoCal because we also had to drive to Yuma, Arizona to get our shot. So we drove the other part, the southeastern part, and to get to Palm Springs, we drove through the northeastern part of Southern California. So we're hitting all the stops. We're pretty much covering the ground.
For the most part.
Yeah. We even drove through Temecula for the first time last week.
Temecula, yeah.
That was beautiful. We were unaware of how cool Temecula was. So, so Darian's listening while he's picking up his daughter.
Fun. Tommy Dodson, what's up?
Tommy Dodson, welcome. Good evening to you. It's funny because it's only 5 o'clock here, so it kind of feels
Which is why we're kind of slightly backlit back here. Because there's sun.
As soon as the sun goes down, you'll see more of us. Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, it's funny how the lighting in this place works. We're in an Airbnb right now. Mr. Dan242W, welcome.
What's up,
Julie
Mr.
Good,
Dan?
Ryan Donahue, Thomas
Kim
Reiser's on.
Klaus is on. Did you ever say
Kim
Klaus?
M. No, I didn't say Klaus. Welcome to all of you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you all. First of all, I just want to say, it's been almost a month.
So thanks for remembering us.
Yeah, thanks for remembering us. Thanks for wanting to hang out with us. You hopefully absence made the heart grow fonder or something. I don't know, but we're really happy to have you guys on and just to chat with all of you and catch up. We have put out several videos since
our
the last
one.
live stream. So hopefully you guys have been liking those as well.
Including more from the UK.
Yeah, so we put out the Isle of Wight vlogs and the Tucson one yesterday. So if you guys haven't watched, I put out a video about the 5 things to do if you go to Tucson, Arizona. Kind of Walter's World style, where I tried to stand in front of a landmark doing it. I don't know. He still is the master. but I'm getting there.
I think he's figured out like wind noises better than us, and like how to position himself. We're like, that's pretty in the background. Who cares about wind? And that was probably a mistake.
But,
it was pretty. It was super pretty.
We learned, and it's all good in the hood.
The content,
and I
phenomenal.
think Scorpio Sue, welcome.
What's up, Sue?
Welcome to you.
Katie
Smith is on. Hello, she's missed these live streams.
Nice to see you too.
Guys, I'm so sorry if I missed saying hi to anybody, but we just kind of sailed through wanting to greet everyone. So if I did, hello to you as well. I missed you. But we're hoping that you guys are as excited as we are to talk about Southern California trips today. I know probably a lot of you guys have been to Southern California because it's an extremely popular destination. Yeah. And we're kind of defining it as like Los Angeles, kind of Santa Barbara and below. I'm sure it's debatable. But we're including where we're at right now, which is Palm Springs too.
Yeah. Well,
there's a lot more to Southern California than the ocean.
Yeah, there's a desert. It's part of the Sonoran Desert, in fact. Which I didn't know until we got here that, Palm Springs is part of the Sonoran Desert, which is the same desert that Tucson is in. So, similarities. But there's not a lot of saguaro cacti over here on the California side, which is something that we learned when we got here. So, fun facts.
Did you learn why there's not a lot of cacti? Okay, you just learned that there's not a lot. There's definitely cacti around here, though. And snakes and
palm trees.
There are palm
Wait, there's snakes? Mm-hmm. Man, I've been walking outside barefoot, just la-di-da-di-da.
Oof, yeah, you should.
Scorpions. Scorpio Sue.
I don't know if there is scorpions or not.
I don't even know. I will say that the community that we're staying in here is very lush. It's around golf courses, so they do a very good job of maintaining the property. We do kind of question the use of water a little bit, given that we are in a desert, but very lush, very beautiful where we are. So that's nice.
Yeah, so tell us what you guys all have been up to. It sounds like Thomas Reiser got to go to Nashville last week and Dallas-Fort Worth.
I love Nashville. I love the food in Nashville. I love the hot chicken in Nashville and the biscuits and all the good stuff that I'm not supposed to eat. I love to eat there. We've been to Nashville a number of times. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's
big fan.
It's a great place.
Live music. God. Once I get the second jab, guys, I'm just gonna go honky-tonky.
I'm curious what Thomas's experience was actually in Nashville, and if a lot of that. What Derek, the list of things that Derek just did, if all of that still held true and stuff like that.
No.
All right. Lori says below south of Santa Barbara to Pacific to Mexico border, pretty much is Southern California. Okay, so our instincts were right on that, I'd say. That's kind of where we were at without looking it up.
I wanted to go slightly higher because I wanted to include Sequoia
National
Forest,
Park.
and then Death Valley. We're counting Death Valley in our list of things to do in SoCal, just because it's it's Death Valley. You got it right.
Ermi, hello, welcome.
Ermi Eichner, what's up?
So tell us, if you are currently on the chat, have you been to Southern California, and if so, where? And then also,
or what's your favorite part of SoCal?
Sure. But also, if you would consider going to Southern California in the next year as a vacation destination.
We actually had somebody already write that in.
Did they? Did we miss
Mary Ellen Dillon says, I'm planning a trip to LA when I get the second dose. Hope to stay down in Long Beach for a few days.
Excellent. Derek
that's
has
really
an
cool.
uncle
My
who
uncle lives in Long Beach, so that's very, very neat. It's a cool area. I've only been there one time though.
I've actually never been.
You've never been, yeah. I was actually there on business. I was in LA on business and made the trek from Santa Monica down to Long Beach. And we're gonna get into this later, but that's a long freaking drive. That's over an hour to get basically from
one side of LA to
one
another.
part to another of LA, because LA is really not LA. LA is a big sprawl that kind of runs east-west. It's very wide, And yeah, that's a drive.
Darian says that he lived in LA and Simi Valley for a year and a half.
Nice.
And Thomas says he did get to go to the National Museum of African American Music. That's incredible.
That's really
I'm so glad
cool.
to hear that. But he said, sorry, I'm kind of working my way backwards. It looks like it got screwed up a bit as he sprained his ankle. Oh, that's so
Yeah, we
awful when you're
saw that.
traveling.
Yeah, we saw that you were walking in a boot.
Yeah, we saw the boot in one of the
Yeah.
photos, but we didn't realize what had happened. So I'm really sorry. I hope it's healing. Because I'm glad that you were still traveling around. By the way, with the boot, like
That's great,
we
yeah.
were applauding you from California when we saw that. That's really cool.
Lori Sims says that Mammoth and Death Valley are close enough to consider SoCal. Awesome. SoCal
Okay.
adjacent. I like it.
SoCal adjacent.
As
Great.
non-Californians, it's fun to do that. And Ryan Donahue has joined the party. What's up?
Ryan was on before. I said hi to him
no.
before.
Well,
but he got to meet
hi.
Darian, Tommy, and others in Helen, Georgia.
We
Yes.
saw that.
I
Saw
saw
the video.
I saw you in Darian's live stream from Helen, Georgia. So it was fun to say hi
It
to
looked like a party.
everybody.
It did look like a party.
It did. It looked like you guys had a really cool crew.
Yeah.
And what a great destination for everybody who's like travel fans to meet at.
Yeah. It's very Germany. Germanesque.
Germanic.
Germanic. Germany-y?
Yeah.
That's not how you make it in
Yeah.
adjective? So Ryan says he stayed in Orange County for a couple of nights and went scuba diving off of Long Beach. Very cool.
Great. Oh, you must have your scuba license. That is something
awesome.
neither of us have, and that would be so cool.
Okay, you guys heard that. She said she would get certified for scuba, which is not what she said last year when we were looking at Australia. So I'm going to hold you to that so we can go do the barrier reef one day.
I think that would be neat. I definitely would be interested in snorkeling somewhere coming up.
Yeah.
It's fun to see like underwater creatures. When I was making the Tucson video, Derek started laughing when he saw the picture that he had actually taken of me at an aquarium, being like, "Oh, look, an otter!" And he's like, "Oh my gosh, you look like a kid." And I'm like, "I love seeing the sea creatures."
Yeah. Very, very fun. So Lori says Long Beach has a lot to offer, and if you want to go there, and
Jason Gore is on, and he says he's moving to LA, which is brand new information for me. And,
Jason,
well, first
is it
of all,
because of the boat? Jason, are you moving because of the boat? Because I saw that like live stream thing you did on the boat, and all of y'all.
Sorry, he didn't do a live stream on a boat. He did a comedic live stream brainstorming ideas about how to free the evergreen from the Suez Canal, and it was hysterical.
Phenomenal. I loved it. I loved every moment of it.
Yes.
I thought it was great. It was very good. I liked all the ideas.
He probably got discovered from that. Now he's
Blowing
moving to
up the
Hollywood.
boat, helicopters. There's a lot of options. But yeah,
That's amazing, though. Well, congrats to you and
congrats
Kristen on
the move.
that. I didn't realize you're moving to California.
My recommendation, I recommend this to everybody that moves to LA, is move to Santa Monica because it's beautiful.
Yeah.
But that's just what I recommend
and
to
somehow
everybody.
people listen to him. And Derek,
all of my friends have
Derek
moved to
has
Santa Monica.
So many friends in Santa Monica. There's one that ended up moving to Burbank, and then
because
now
he
he's moving.
He worked
to,
at Disney's.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
But
now he's moving to San Diego.
that's awesome. If you move to Santa Monica, let us know. We'll hang out. It'll be fun.
Mm-hmm.
I do find it funny though, where it's like I feel like I'm pushing everybody into Santa Monica, and then like I'm just like seeing it's like we're not moving there, but like we're gonna move to LA and like not move to Santa Monica. It's gonna be like, ha!
All your credibility will be shot.
We moved to Venice instead. But yeah,
That's Santa Monica adjacent. If we're talking about adjacent things.
A little bit edgier though.
Well, congrats, Jason. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
If you move anytime soon, we'll still be here. All right. So we are.
But actually, we will look at houses. So like, just let us know.
Yeah.
We look at realtor.com all the time.
We could also start watching that
$1 Million
Listing
LA. Yeah. You said not to bring it up.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
We've been guys. We are now trashy reality show
We're
watchers.
not. We don't. We're not. I mean, not
we
really.
watch a Bravo show.
Yeah, which
We watched
never
$1 Million
watched
List in New
reality.
York, which we had never watched before. And I will say, going back to the earlier seasons, there's some problematic behavior on the show, but we're moving through it, hoping to get to later seasons when maybe it's a little bit more acceptable. We'll see. But it's a lot of fun to see the crazy expensive stuff.
You kind of learn about different cities from watching shows like that. Yeah. Even if you watch like House Hunters or House Hunters International on HGTV.
It's good to learn about neighborhoods.
Yeah, it's just fun to see what regular life is like outside of a hotel room.
Yeah. Jason Gore, stay there until July. That's soon. Coming up soon, man. That's awesome. Congrats.
Yay! And then Scorpio Sousa's trained an office in Brea, California. I don't know what that is. Did Universal City walk, saw an Angels game, and saw a whale and her calf swim the coast. So cool. So I'm guessing it's like an LA area town sort of thing. Yeah. That sounds like a perfect California experience. Like, you nailed it. You don't even need our list. Just kidding, but that's fun. Would you ever consider going back? Because we end up finding ourselves going back to California a lot, just because of Derek has a lot of family.
Yeah, I've got family in San Francisco and LA, and tons of friends in LA.
I have extended family in Orange County. Yeah. And then you have tons of friends, and Derek personally, has tons of friends, fraternity brothers that are in San Diego and LA. So we just
San Diego's great.
We find ourselves here. But this was our first time in Palm Springs, so we can speak to that now that we've been here for 2 weeks,
it's
2.5.
Very hot here.
Yeah, so right now...
When we got here, it wasn't that hot.
Yeah, right now, it's like in the 90s.
And like
every day.
Mid to upper 90s, too. Like, very, very warm. When we got here, highs were more like in the 70s. But we just happened to be here like when that little like switch turned and it became like summer all of a sudden. So it's very warm. We find ourselves staying inside a little bit more once the heat turns up. But there are 6 pools on this property, so we do have pool access, which is really nice.
Yeah. Tommy Dodson says $1 Million LA would get you a fixer-upper at best. That is probably 100% accurate.
Yeah. Similar to like $1 million in like New York.
You don't
get a lot.
Woof, woof, woof.
Tom's Riser, Monterey Park, and Alhambra are the home of authentic Chinese food. My late uncle lived there. Oh, that's awesome. We need to get some good Chinese food while we're here.
Yeah, I ended up getting sushi yesterday, and then part of our...
Which is Japanese, which we know.
Yes, sorry. Correct. But part of our list of things, like the first section of our list of California things to think about if you're planning a trip, involves food. So do we want to just like jump right into that part?
Sure.
And
we
start
need the
talking.
list.
I mean, we have a pretty long list of things to talk about. And the first one we thought would be cool to do food. So let's just jump right into it.
Because we all gotta eat.
Yeah.
So the first thing, and we learned this from my buddy who lives in San Diego. I don't know if it's true, but he says that San Diego's the home of the fish taco, the fried fish taco, like mahi-mahi and all that stuff, like breaded, fried, yummy goodness. He says that's like where it's from, and it's something to try when you're here. I love fish tacos. I love fried fish tacos. And especially if you get like a really good like slaw on top, like, yummy goodness. Because of that crunch. So good.
I like fish tacos even if they're not fried. To each their own.
To each their own. Well, I mean, all right, so the next one on the list is definitely an Eliz thing.
Oh, yeah. So I had written down, because you're in California, you should try anything with avocados.
As long as you're not allergic to avocados.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, disclaimer, I suppose. But I would consider the avocados in California to almost certainly be very fresh. It's local a lot of the times, and they just make like a dish feel happier.
This is like the home of avocado toast. I mean, like, if you've seen avocado toast, I feel like it started here. And so, like, we're better to get avocado toast than in, like, Southern California.
But even, for example, I got a bagel and lox at one of the restaurants in La Jolla, and it came with avocado on the side as well. And so
they're just adding avocado.
I was just
to
like,
things
this
left
is my
and
place.
right.
I love you guys.
Actually, Eliz's cousin got avocado toast here at a restaurant, and it was the most massive avocado toast I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I was not expecting to have very large portions in San Diego, and we were in La Jolla specifically, but we ordered things, and I feel like multiple times we're surprised at how much food we were getting. The portions were actually quite big. The price was big, but like the portion, I was expecting more like a New York thing where it's like big price, little portion sort of thing. And this was like decently sized price and like big portion, which was pretty cool. She got like these 2 massive chunks of bread with like avocado and salmon, and she.
I think hers had salmon.
It did, yeah. She got salmon.
Really?
So her reaction to it, I think, was, how could anybody eat this? Like, this much avocado?
I mean, if you come really hungry, but we just weren't prepared enough. We hadn't come hungry enough. But
so it looked awesome.
Yeah.
She loved it, and that restaurant was really, really good. It's a restaurant that I would recommend if you're in San Diego. It's called The Cottage. It's in like downtown La Jolla, and it is the restaurant that my brother and I went to the morning of his wedding.
Yeah.
So it's a special place.
Yes.
But it's I think it's maybe call ahead only, so you have to. They don't take like typical reservations, and that's.
The way we did it was we called like right when we were waking up, and they said it was a 90-minute wait list. So we got ready and went and waited maybe a little bit extra time too. But yeah, it was worth it.
But that's something
sorry.
That's something that I would say about California that we've noticed, at least around here, is that there are a number of places that we've gone to that don't take reservations, but might have like a call ahead seating type thing, so you can maybe not make a reservation, but call and say, is there a wait list that I can put my name on, so you can go and like not waste a ton of time. Which is cool.
And I'll add to that because we have a very long list of kind of like restaurants and food stuff to try, but one thing I've noticed is, well, I'll say 2 things about the restaurant scene. Number one is on busier days and nights and stuff like that, you just want to make reservations in advance in general, if you can, at the restaurant that you want to go to. Especially because a lot of the tables right now are, distanced and stuff like that, and so there's just less capacity. So there's a lot of people kind of battling, especially for those outdoor tables, those coveted outdoor tables, at specific like prime times.
Yeah, because California just recently reopened at like 25% capacity inside. A lot of these places have kind of stayed open outdoors, at least in San Diego and whatnot. They've kind of kept their outdoor seating throughout most of the pandemic.
Well, some restaurants, though, were closed during kind of that lockdown period in California,
yes.
And so some of them are just opening back up in the past, like, week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks sort of thing. And you can almost, like, at certain places, if they've just opened up, you can kind of be like, you can kind of tell that they're like just getting their groove back, if you will.
Yeah.
They're like, things are a little rusty, but you know, it's understandable.
Yeah. So, but really good stuff, awesome food. Being in Southern California, al fresco dining, I think, is a perk that you should try to take advantage of when you're here, even during like normal times. Like in the before times, I would want to eat outside too.
Yeah. And a lot of the places have heat lamps.
Yeah, because that is one thing, is that, being in California, especially if you are close to the ocean, it can get cool at night, especially if there's wind coming off the Pacific Ocean, which is a relatively cold, like the Pacific Ocean's cold. So the wind coming off of that can be quite a bit cooler. So, heat lamps, layers, things like that are important if you're going to eat outside.
Yeah. Lori's asking, were you required to wear masks during your visit, and did you have dine outside only? Let me answer that in backwards. We only dined al fresco outside. And purposefully got reservations in advance and stuff like that in order to do that. But we've noticed a lot of people are extremely respectful about wearing masks, and I think a large part of that is a much smaller percentage of the California population is vaccinated at this point than in other states. Okay. So, you know, it's still a thing, and it's still a requirement to wear masks. So.
Yeah, we've been wearing masks. We've noticed that, you know, here versus other places, people are just. We see a much higher percentage of people wearing masks just kind of like randomly on the street, not just inside businesses, but like on the sidewalk as well here versus when we were in, you know, other places like Arizona and Utah.
Yeah. Hey there,
Shady Hill.
Welcome.
What's
Thanks
up?
for joining.
Cheers.
Cheers. And cheers to everybody, really. We didn't do that before. We want to say thanks again for joining us after a longer hiatus than we'd been doing.
Ting ting.
Yeah, so we're really happy to welcome everybody back to the live stream.
Because we are in a place with pools and a lot of outdoor stuff, the only glasses that came with this Airbnb
Stop tapping it.
are plastic. So I could drop this and I would just get wine everywhere.
Yep.
But I wouldn't get glass anywhere.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep.
All right, so next
All right, let's
thing.
jump in. So
Mexican
Lori
food.
Sims already said Mexican food, which is the next one on our list.
Of course, Mexican food. Got to get that good California Mexican food. And this kind of ties into another thing, so I'm just going to bring it up now. If you want to save money too, maybe taco trucks and things like that are a great way to try some really good food, save some money, and you know. Yeah. Maybe stretch outside of your comfort zone if you're not used to eating out of a food truck.
So we'll get into this a bit later, but hotels are like pretty expensive in California, and just, you know, the flights and everything like that. And so when you are looking at food costs, oh, and like your transportation around, basically like
everything can be expensive.
Yes, but anyway, so if you're looking at food costs and ways to cut costs, our recommendation is if you're staying at a hotel, if you can find one that offers like a free breakfast. That's going to be a great way to get your breakfast in. And then if you do food trucks for lunch, then maybe you can do something a little bit more higher end for dinner. Or, you know, combine breakfast and lunch if you don't have free breakfast into like one of the large brunches that apparently offer like avocado toast the size of your head.
Yeah. So, you know, Mexican food though is really good here. Good fresh ingredients. Obviously a very large Hispanic population, specifically from Mexico. So there's, you know, a lot of great authentic food here. Definitely eat some while you're here. Highly recommend that.
Hi Iggy, welcome. Iggy's here from Torre Don Jimeno, and he says he hopes we're enjoying California.
We are. California is beautiful.
Yeah.
And hot. Very hot. So, Eliz, you want to start talking about Asian food? That's the next 3 things on the list.
Yes. So, our favorite Asian restaurants that are in other places, but like kind of
West Coast a lot.
Are like lean more West Coast that we would recommend. Kind of like people will have heard of these if you say, "Hey, I went to this place." One is Sugarfish for sushi,
which is awesome sushi. There's one in Santa Monica that's delicious. There is one in New York too, but I think there's multiple Sugarfish here in LA.
Here in LA, yeah. And then there's Din Tai Fung for soup dumplings, which we've mentioned because we went to Din Tai Fung in Las Vegas because it just opened. But there's several all around Southern California. And then...
just the whole coast. They're up in San Francisco too. They're in Seattle. They're all over the West Coast. But if you're in LA, there's quite a few of them in LA.
Yeah. There's also a lot of like ramen and Vietnamese and Thai food places. It just like happens to, you know, like there's just a prevalency in Southern California. And what I wanted to say is, so we've ordered Thai food now.
We love Thai food. Thai food's one of our
2 or 3 times since we've been here.
Thai food's one of our favorite types of food.
I love it because like if we order it as takeaway or something, it can reheat well. And it's good like noodle dishes especially and stuff. So what I want to say though is us weak Midwesterners thought that we were ordering our usual, and I got like spice level 3 and Derek got like spice level 5 out of 10, right? Where we're like, okay, we want it to have like a little kick, but we don't want it to be
like burn my mouth with lava.
It's a different Scoville scale essentially here in in California than it is in the Midwest. or even the East Coast.
So be prepared for that. Like, you know, if you ask for spicy food here, I would say if you're from the Midwest, it's going to be a very different scale.
Yes.
And it's going to be much hotter. Maybe go a little bit lower on the spectrum than what you're used to, like maybe. Because I would say in like Indiana, I'd be like, give me like a 7 out of 10. And I'd be like, this isn't even hot. There's no spice. And then we come here, I'm like, give me a 3. And I'm just like, or a 5, whatever it was. But I was like burning the hell out of my mouth.
I was at my maximum,
my
I think, at 3. And like 2 was like the comfortable level for me. Which
It
out
was
of
so
10,
hot.
you just are like embarrassed. You're like, come on, I can handle more, right?
Eric B, have a good
Hi,
one, bud.
Eric B. I don't think I even said hi to him earlier. Hello, welcome. And it sounds like he's gotta run. But thanks for joining.
Yeah, thank you. Yes, spicy much. It was super spicy.
It was so spicy.
So I can order a 0.
Yes.
Yeah, you can actually. There is like a no spice option usually.
Absolutely. And that's totally fine to do that. All right, so we've gone through...
The next one, which is kind of a local chain thing to do when you're out here, obviously, is In-N-Out Burger.
This is what everybody does.
Everybody loves In-N-Out Burger.
And it's not just Southern California.
Get a double with fries. I mean, it's delicious. I had never had In-N-Out until this trip. And we got In-N-Out in Nevada? Or Arizona. No, it was in Arizona.
Sure.
We stopped on our way up to Nevada.
Yeah.
Had my first double with no bun, and it was very good. You can get it like protein style, and they put it between like lettuce, basically. Very delicious.
Yep. Yeah, and I've had it several times before. It is just a really delicious fast food option. But I feel like there's certain people who have like been dying to go to In-N-Out Burger from other parts of the country and parts of the world, and like I know people that have landed in LA and like the first thing they do is go to In-N-Out Burger.
Yes.
So it's certainly a thing that, you know, it's a destination in itself sometimes.
Very good. You know, it's similar to in New York. Used to have the cachet for having the the burger place from New York.
Shake Shack?
Shake Shack. Shake Shack is like the New York burger place. And then you've got In-N-Out Burger here. Shake Shack has now expanded quite a bit outside of New York since then. But yeah, no, it's very good and highly recommend it.
Yeah, so Ermie's asking, is it as good as people say? And I would say it is better than like your typical fast food.
It's better than McDonald's,
burger.
better than Wendy's,
Yeah.
better, you know, it's up there. It's like less greasy than Five Guys. Although I do like Five Guys.
It's hard to really like say what it tastes like.
They do the crinkle cut fries, which is kind of fun. You get a lot of. I think they do crinkle cut.
But I want to caveat this because, like, if you go to San Francisco, Las Vegas, Phoenix, Tucson, like In-N-Out is
all over the Southwest.
All over the kind of southern western part of the country. So it's not, you know, you can only get it in LA or something like that. Five Guys are the best, yeah.
Five Guys is good. And you get like that bag of fries, and it's just like the bag. It's like in that brown paper bag, and then like the bottom is just a different shade because of all the grease. Oh, so good.
Mary Ellen says if you want greasier, order animal style.
Ew. Yeah, no.
Whoa. Shake Shack is in LA too. Yes, they expanded. They actually are in Vegas now too. We ate at Shake Shack in Vegas.
We did
a month ago.
All right. So what else do we got? Cleveland, Nash. Oh no.
All right. So I think we've covered the food section.
The foods.
In the comments, if we've missed anything that you guys absolutely love to eat or to places that you like to eat at in Southern California, definitely put it in the chat. Okay.
Yeah.
Next, we're going to talk about outdoor adventures. National parks, state parks,
other
cool things to do in an outdoor setting.
Cool. Yeah, so first thing on our list is Death Valley. So if you want to go to the hottest place on Earth, I think, Death Valley is crazy. And definitely a place to see. It's a national park. It's one of the 63 national parks in the United States. And it is probably a 3.5-hour drive north of us, being here in Palm Springs. So it's pretty close to SoCal. SoCal adjacent, as we talked about before. And if you're looking to hit some of the national parks here in the Southern California, that's kind of the first one that you can hit. While we're on it, let's just hit the other national parks.
Sorry, I just want to answer Ermi's question real quick. If you're a vegetarian, you're going to be just fine in Southern California because there's so many places that accommodate, the vegetarian diet. I'm not a vegetarian, so I can only speak to what I've seen on menus personally. But I mean, almost every Asian place you can find something that's going to have a vegetarian option, whether it's Chinese food, Japanese food, Vietnamese, Thai food, Indian food, that sort of thing. But I will add that if you go to like a burger place, you might end up seeing like jackfruit burgers on the menu or something like that. One of those like vegetarian options, or even like a Beyond Burger.
Yeah, jackfruit's more of a barbecue type thing. I think they do that as like a pulled pork type thing. If you're a vegetarian, I'm sure you're aware of that already.
Yeah, and my best friend Rachel, who you guys have seen in one of the videos on this channel, she sometimes eats vegetarian. Not always, but sometimes. So I learn a lot about the options from eating with her, and I know that jackfruit is certainly one of those that she thinks is pretty good.
Yep. Okay, so the other ones, though, there are 3 national parks in Southern California. There's Death Valley, and then right next door to us is Joshua Tree. We actually kind of drove through it on our way here with their famous Joshua trees, which is like is it called like a yucca tree or something like that? I don't remember, but it's a tree. Kind of looks fun. And then
Lori's gonna know.
Yeah, and then there's the last one, which is the Channel Islands, just outside of LA. So like just right off the coast of like LA and Malibu is the Channel Islands National Park.
But you have to take a boat.
Gotta take a boat, but boats are fun. I like boats. So those are the 3 national parks down here. There's of course other things like national forests and preserves and things of that nature, but those are the 3 national parks around here. Mojave Preserve.
Yeah, so when we were driving here from Las Vegas to Palm Springs, we decided to take the scenic route, and we drove through what's not a national park, but it's a national preserve. So it's the Mojave Desert National Preserve. And it also had a lot of Joshua trees. And just really pretty mountain scenery and desert scenery. So that's a cool one, especially if you're doing that drive from Vegas to Southern California, to maybe do that little detour.
Yeah.
Then there's a couple of like sprinkles of different national forests around. We drove kind of past one. When we got our shot in Yuma, Arizona, we went from Palm Springs to Yuma to straight to San Diego, so we kind of covered different ground.
It's like a zigzag.
Yeah. And we drove kind of past the Cleveland, what is it called? Cleveland National Forest, but there's also several national forests closer to LA too. So really cool for just exploring nature.
Yeah, so one thing that we actually forgot to put on the list somehow, but is very cool here in Palm Springs specifically, and one of the like really popular attractions is to do the tram up into the San Jacinto Mountains, which is super popular, and we were gonna do
it's
it.
It's not really a tram so much as like a ski lift, right?
They call it the tramway.
I know, but I just want to...
But it's called the tramway if you're looking for the tickets. And it takes you up into the mountains on like a big, like a gondola, like whatever those things are called, like on the rail, on like the like steel lines and stuff. So you take that up into the mountains, and you're up in the mountains, pine forests, awesome stuff. Like there's a bar, I think, up there and everything, so you can get a drink and look at the views. We were going to do that actually with Eliz's family when they came over here, but we didn't realize how early the tickets sell out. So if you're looking to do that and you want to ride the tramway, definitely get your tickets well in advance. I think they start offering them 2 weeks in advance, and they sell out about a week in advance, or at least based on what I can tell. So you could definitely get those in advance. So instead, what we did was we drove up into the mountains, and that's a much longer route. Lots of winding roads, very quick elevation gains, and San Jacinto. Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's where the San Jacinto Mountains. Very cool. And
Lori.
they're awesome.
Yeah. Lori's funny about the forest near LA, just having to be careful. I think it's probably, during the day you might be able to go for a hike and it'll be fun. Okay, so then we hadn't been to this place, but we saw it on a map, so I will say it out loud. But there's kind of in between Palm Springs and San Diego, there's like the Anza Borrego Desert State Park. So my guess is, I was looking at pictures of it, and it's kind of like this rolling sand dune type thing that looked really cool. And speaking of sand dunes, the last thing we were going to say, when we were driving from, we were almost to Yuma, but still in California, there was this sand dune area kind of adjacent
right on the border
of Mexico and California, like kind of that three corners, like California, Arizona, Mexico area, pretty much like adjacent to the irrigation canals that they have down in Yuma for the agriculture. There was like this whole rolling sand dune situation going on, and man, that was so cool. And I guess it's called Gordon's Well Imperial Sand Dunes.
You saw a ton of RVs and off-road vehicle type things, and it's clear that they probably do some sort of like dune surfing there and different things. We were obviously on our way. We're like, go get the Pfizer shot and don't get sidetracked. It looked very cool.
We would have loved to have stopped. It looks like the kind of place that car commercials are filmed in.
our joke was, I don't have the footwear for this. I don't have the right shoes for stopping.
This is gonna get my mesh tennis shoes.
But it looked very fun, and this kind of leads us into the next thing, which is about like what are like kind of like the sporting things you can do around here. Which obviously there's stuff like in the wintertime, California has some great like skiing and different things like that. SoCal probably a little bit less, but down here there's awesome surfing, and I feel like everybody I talk to that lives in like the LA, San Diego area at least dabbles in surfing, or they're learning surfing right now, if maybe they just relocated. And it's super popular. So one thing to do when you're here is why not take some lessons and try to learn how to get up on a board. It sounds like, the thing to do.
Lori, you're like starting to confuse me.
Watch out for the jellyfish.
I'm looking at her pronunciation guide to the mountains that we literally stare at from here. And so is it not a Spanish word?
What are you looking at?
So she said pronounce it more like Juan Cento. I thought we were pronouncing it correctly as it would be pronounced in the Spanish language, but maybe because it's not spelled Juan. But anyway,
we have a new person on, Zoe Allgood. Hello from Joplin, Missouri. Welcome.
Welcome to our live
We like
stream.
Missouri.
Yeah,
we've been to St. Louis. We love the Arch.
Yes.
Very fun.
And our sister-in-law her whole family's from Jolla, Missouri.
Which I still don't know where that is.
It's in the middle.
Love you, Jamie. But yeah, no. Missouri is really cool. We might drive through Missouri on our way back.
No, Derek.
But we don't. Oh, we're not.
Okay, so
Kansas? Are we driving through Kansas?
No,
we're not driving through Kansas.
All right,
oh,
so
man.
Derek keeps telling people that we're driving through states that we are not going to be driving through on our way back. This happened like already once today.
Did we somehow hit Louisiana? Like, I don't know geography.
All right, we want to take a northerly route back to the Midwest after
Wisconsin.
we're out in the West.
No, Wisconsin.
Which does not include Kansas or Missouri, despite what Derek wants to tell you guys. All right, so
No,
sorry, I was skipping around because I thought.
So the other thing is stand-up paddle boarding for those who don't want to surf. It's a little bit more relaxed, as long as you get past the surf.
I'll just say, like, whatever outdoor activity that you want to do
you can
in California,
kite surf,
you could literally do anything.
Yeah.
But we're kind of listing off the ones that are a little bit more kind of like
rented.
touristy. Yeah, you can find rentals and stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Mary Ellen Dillon says Missouri is not near Louisiana, Derek. Yes, I know. What about like New York State? I don't know. Is that no? I'm just joking now. We lived in New York for a long time. I know.
Okay, so
it's closer to Florida.
Derek wants to go to Minnesota, Nick, but I've already been, so we might be doing the Iowa I-80 route instead.
Ew.
We'll see. Again, it's kind of like we just need to figure it out. Iowa's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
If anybody is from Iowa, I don't mean to offend you.
All right.
I'm from Indiana, so like I get it. Like, I get it.
All right, so
tennis. That's you.
Tennis. Yes.
You're a tennis person. There's tennis courts right over there.
Especially here in Palm Springs, which is kind of like, I think the nickname of Palm Springs is like the winter vacation destination. Golf and tennis is huge. You're gonna find it in like a lot of the hotel areas, the subdivisions, stuff like that.
Guys, I came to a realization recently. We're snowbirds. We're basically snowbirds. We were like, let's get out of the Midwest. It's cold here. Take us to the warm places. And so we are those youngish 30-something snowbirds.
Hi, Troy. Welcome. It's so good to see you.
Troy Stansel, how you doing, bud? Good to see you.
Do paddleboarding in a bay and not an ocean, says Lori Sims. Yes. So...
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to have waves to contend with, for sure. There's also a couple areas that maybe have lakes, and that might be a good option, too. All right, so speaking of golf, we also wanted to kind of add mini golf.
Oh my God, mini golf is like crazy. There's a lot of mini golf here.
A lot of mini golf, and it's like really built up in a way. Taking a picture of everybody.
Sharing it on my socials.
The mini golf scene is strong here in California compared to a lot of other places.
Okay, if anybody's ever seen The Karate Kid, you know mini golf is a part of life in California.
Sure.
That's what The Karate Kid taught me.
Right.
And there's a mini golf place right over here. It's called. It's relatively close to us. It's called Boomers, which is the best name ever, and it's like booming. Like I drive by there and it's just like crazy busy. There's like lines of people like waiting for the go-karts, and like there's tons of people on the field like golfing. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Ermi, thank you for the compliment, and I just want to say Derek and I actually have not tried surfing. We also have not.
I would not do well in surfing. I would be bad.
I would try it.
I would totally try it.
Yeah, and I would take lessons and stuff like that. But we're kind of listing off for...
things people could do.
Things that are very popular for tourists and stuff. Also, Lori's saying that she suggested that we try skiing in the local mountains, and we have not. So another thing is that as, Midwesterners from flat states, neither Derek nor I have actually ever skied. To the chagrin of a lot of people.
I've sledded. I do a lot of sledding.
And it's not that we wouldn't try it. We just want to do it in a place that we know that we can do like bunny hill ski lessons and stuff like that. Neither of our families really skied growing up, so it just didn't happen. That wasn't like our choice vacation destinations. Both of our families actually opted for like Florida and stuff, in winter. So it's unfortunate that we don't know how to ski, but we are willing to learn probably once we're vaccinated. So hopefully that'll happen.
Yeah. So paddleboarding, golf, rollerblading is very popular here. Or skating.
I actually know somebody who rollerblades every single day in Venice Beach. So it's extremely popular. You're going to see it especially in like those beach towns and stuff like that. Have you guys ever rollerbladed? Let us know in the chat. I haven't rollerbladed since I was in like 4th grade.
Middle school, maybe elementary school, I don't know.
But there's a huge culture of rollerblading, and I feel like it's growing from kind of those roller derby movies and stuff like that.
So rollerblading, skateboarding is really popular here. You'll see like skate parks all over the place, which is a lot of fun. But for those who want to do something on wheels and don't have the hand, foot, eye coordination for rollerblading or skateboarding, cycling is pretty big here. So you can always like take out a bike and do some cycling. If you're really feeling crazy, go up into like the mountains with it and everything. Maybe do some mountain biking. That's also very popular. So there's a lot to do here, just outdoors generally, including gyms. You can like go do like outdoor gyms or classes, whether it's yoga on the beach or go do like Pilates in the park. I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff to do here. So a lot of outdoor stuff.
Yeah.
And Venice Beach, actually. So if you're in LA and you go to Venice Beach, you'll see that's like Muscle Beach type area, and that's like a very popular place for
we have
low rollers.
We have
craps.
a super chat. We haven't had these in a while, and I don't know who low rollers chaps
craps, not chaps
is.
That would be funny though.
But thank you.
I
so,
love
so
that name
much.
though, because like for $5 you can play a game of craps.
Also,
like
while we were just talking about rollerblading. Okay, so this is what we do when we get super chats. All right, so we did the wave for the first time in a while. Thank you so much for the super chat.
I needed the squat action.
Yeah,
just like...
yeah. I don't know if it's we're talking about low roller cars or something, but
no, it's
no, that's roller
Vegas craps.
Yeah.
Playing craps, low rollers,
oh,
instead of high rollers.
Yes.
Get it?
Yeah, I do get it now.
I love Vegas.
I totally get it.
Low rollers craps. Are you in Vegas? Because that's very cool. I want to go back. Eliz says no, though.
That's not true.
She's the bad guy.
I did not say no.
I said it today. I was like, hey, you want to go to Vegas? You're like, no. But we are looking at, once we'll be fully vaccinated in Arizona.
Oh yeah, I'm wearing shorts because it's like 95 degrees outside. Sorry.
Yeah.
Surprise.
It's also like pointed down more. I feel like you can see a lot more of our like
that's true
lower
too.
extremities than usual.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're in pants on this one. We always wear pants, guys. Don't worry. But yeah, no. So we are going to be maybe driving through Vegas coming up. So we'll see.
Yeah. It's a very likely situation that we'll be driving through Vegas.
And at that point, we'll be fully vaxxed, which would be really cool. Heading up into Utah. So that'd be fun.
Thank you, Zoe. So sweet of you. You guys are so awesome, she said. I guess I need to break out the rollerblades and GoPro this week.
Ryan, please do that. Please do that. That'd be so good.
By the way, I wanted to say Tommy Dodson says love to rollerblade, but with a period. So I don't know if that's a joke or if that's like... I don't know. The punctuation part is making me be like, I wonder if that's a joke, but I'm not sure.
All right, no. So Tommy then says, on a stop in Venice Beach, picked up some neon green rollerblading pants and
Tommy
wore them here in Tennessee. Got some of the funniest looks from the neighbors. That was a few years ago. Very cool.
Awesome. Oh, now you guys might be able to hear us better because the AC just shut off.
Yeah, we won't shout as much.
Yeah. They're probably like, we could hear you before.
We're like those people talking into a phone like, can you hear me? Yes, we can hear you. Stop yelling, Mom. You know, it's like... Eliz does this to me all the time. We're like walking out on like...
Yeah, well...
Okay, so we are snowbirds. Yeah, we go for walks.
We go for our morning walks. Around the subdivision, which the border is a golf course. And
she shushes me so much.
It's like she's so quiet in the morning. We go so early. We go at like between like 7 and 8 in the morning. And so I'm like, people are still sleeping. Like you can't be talking at like loud decibels.
I'm not like yelling, but I'm like sometimes I get excited.
I know you get excited.
I get excited. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
I'm like, what about the next video?
But Nick P just did another super chat. Thank you so much, Nick.
Nick P says, I've got no plans for California, but I will be road tripping it to New York soon to see family we haven't been seeing in a long time, and to meet Nick Barnett.
That's amazing.
Also known as Global Nico, if you're looking for his channel. He's actually been putting up videos on the YouTubes, and it's very cool. We're very, very supportive of that.
And we have tons of New York recommendations, too, because we used to live there for 8 years.
Yeah, let us know where, if you're going to be in New York City at all.
Nick Barnett's is a great resource, too. But we got to do our second wave. Yay, wave! Oh, I messed that up. Thank you. Thank you so much for the super chat. We really appreciate that.
Very fun.
Great
Q's
way to support the channel.
What's up?
Hi, Q's Cruisers, and Q's Cruisers is in Syracuse, New York, so they can totally help with that New York stuff too.
They did. Okay, so I remember going on one of their live streams, and they were talking about things to do in New York, like upstate New York and whatnot.
That's
so
true.
there's a lot of stuff about like Finger Lakes and like I feel like it was like
they actually had a
like
really well-rounded
thing?
like New York State list, and so I'm assuming they have a replay on their channel too. So you can check that out. Excuse me. So, sorry, I don't think we really missed. How long? Okay, Mary Ellen was saying, how long are you staying in Southern California? We are going to be here for another, like, week and a half or so.
Yeah. Before we head over to Arizona again, and we're going to be there for a little bit before we head up.
We have to get our second vaccine.
Got to get our second shot over there. Going to stay with my grandma, which will be really cool because she's fully vaxxed, and we're going to be fairly immune by that point, which is nice. So we're going to stay with her and
she was
visit
living by
and everything,
herself
which will be so good.
a year. I mean, she lives by herself
all the time,
total.
Yeah.
But like by herself, without being able to really interact with others. So I'm just really looking forward. By the way, there's a puppy next door, like a brand new puppy. I think they told me it's 12 weeks old. So if you can hear that puppy, I'm sorry, I can hear it. So maybe you can.
It's a very squeaky little bark.
It's so cute though.
It's very adorable. Oh my gosh, I have a video of it like jumping because it was like its family had like had left, and they left the dog outside, and it was like, take me with you.
Yeah, the family just went to the pool. Like,
yeah, they went to the
They didn't
pool.
leave.
Yeah, they were like, we're gonna go to the pool and like let the dog like run around outside, and it was
Fenced
just like,
in.
it was very cute.
It was.
It was like on a pogo stick.
Lori says vaccine in and from Arizona. Yeah. So, I think that's the question. I think the question is about where we got it, which is in Arizona. It will be the Albany area. Okay, well that'll be closer to Nick Barnett's. Yeah. So Nick P is saying visiting Revolutionary War battlefields that my ancestors fought at. So cool, such as the Saratoga battlefield, as well as other Revolution sites. Cool. Saratoga, I hear, is also just a beautiful town to visit in general, so that'll be a great trip. Fun
fact, I'm related very distantly to the Bunkers.
That is true.
And they're the ones who Bunker Hill is named after. But that's it.
That is a fun fact.
That's a fun fact.
Yeah,
it's like
Derek has a lot of those like fun facts in his family history, and once you start kind of like looking stuff up, it can unveil some cool stuff.
Yeah.
All right. So, should we get back into our California list of things?
Yeah, so next we're going to talk about best California songs, and it's mainly Beach Boys.
We found, that's not true, we're not doing that. But we found as we were entering into California, we found a Spotify playlist that's just called like California songs or something. So essentially it's just songs that mention
California in some way.
Or things about California.
Yeah.
So that was kind of fun to get us through the last leg of our journey and like really celebrate the month that we were about to spend here.
Which is nuts that we're like so far into it already. Like we're almost done.
Well, last time we talked to all of you guys, I think it was like
we're still in St. George,
11th.
Utah.
Yeah, and we left on St. Patrick's Day and came to California on St. Patrick's Day. So we've been here a while now. We've been trying to explore while we can. We still have a lot of things to see even within the Palm Springs area.
Guys,
but we're getting to it.
We're really bad about it. we're bad about always like hitting.
Well, we're also
like the things, like the tramway. Like I'm not sure if we're gonna be able to get the tramway in before we leave, because there's a tickets issue. It's kind of like when we were in Portsmouth in the UK and we never went to Spinnaker Tower, even though we were there for a month.
Yeah, that was a ticket issue too, wasn't it?
It was a ticket issue, and we wanted to go up for high tea, and it was kind of one of those like we want to go for high tea or nothing, and then we screwed up and we never got the tickets to high tea.
Well, let me explain. So it's hard for us to commit like a week in advance for like a weekday sort of thing, just because of work schedules and stuff like that. And so then on weekends we try to choose activities that we think are going to be less populated and stuff like that until we're fully, vaccinated. So
CA asks if we have been to Canada.
We certainly have.
We have been to Canada.
And hello,
CA.
Welcome.
Are you in Canada? And if so, what part of Canada are you from?
Yes. So
because we really enjoy Canada.
Derek and I got engaged in Canada.
I proposed to her on the tarmac in
Quebec City. Yes. Which is perfect for us because we both love travel so much that's where it happened.
Quebec City is awesome, by the way, for anybody who's never been. It is probably the most European feeling city in North America. It's the only walled city north of Mexico, I believe, in North America. And it really does feel very like French. And the food in Quebec City specifically, is just, it's this beautiful fusion of kind of like frontier meets French food. So think French foods, but also like you can get a venison steak.
Yeah.
Very good, very high quality, lovely place. Do like a horse and carriage ride through. Go to the Plains of Abraham and get a picnic. It's really something else. There's a ton of nature nearby. You're in the forest. It's beautiful.
So CA is from Ontario, which
nice.
I really hope that the U.S.-Canadian border opens back up to more leisure travel soon. I'm not thinking it's going to happen imminently. If I'm being frank, but like I really hope that this happens in a way that we can have the option to go to Canada at least, at some point in 2021. Yeah. I would love to go to Ontario specifically. We've looked at like Toronto and Ottawa.
Yeah, I was supposed to go to Toronto for work 2 years ago, and ended up getting sick, unfortunately, so I couldn't make it to that. But there's some really phenomenal photographers out of Toronto, which is really, really cool.
And we also have been to British Columbia. So we've been to Vancouver and Vancouver Island. We went to Victoria and Butchart Gardens. So we really, really enjoyed British Columbia.
It was actually really funny.
That's an amazing spot.
I've got a cousin in BC as well.
Yes, you do.
Rosa Maria. It was really funny. We went to Canada for the first time. We flew into Vancouver, and we took a train then from Vancouver down to Seattle, and we did like a Vancouver/Seattle vacation once. And it was so funny because we were coming from New York. So we're flying New York to Vancouver. We landed, got off the plane, walked outside of the airport, breathed, and we're like, oh my God, the air smells delicious.
I think we didn't even rained.
Know.
It was just like this.
It just smelled so good. It was like a candle, but better.
Yeah, it was like, it was floral in like a delightful way, not in like a Yankee Candle type way.
It was so good. And I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah. The
Can
air
we live
quality
here now?
approved.
Oh my God. What are we? It was just one of those things. It was like, what are we doing to ourselves? Like, it must not be good for us over there. It's like it's so good.
Yeah, we were living in New York City at the time. And we were probably like, oh, fresh air. What's this?
Vancouver's great. And the other thing, I know you're from Ontario, and Toronto, I'm sure, is phenomenal as well.
Yeah.
But Vancouver, what I really love about it is that it's this like bizarre area that has mountains, it has beach, it's got a real city, it's kind of this, it has everything, which is very cool.
Okay, so I just want to respond to a couple things. So Low Rollers Crap saying great rates at the Las Vegas and Paris hotel. Wait, great rates in Las Vegas at the Paris and Flamingo hotels the week of June 14th. So what I will want, just like, I mean, if the room is, if you're the kind of person where like the room is just the place where you sleep, you know, don't listen to me. But we have stayed at like the lowest end rooms in certain hotels in Las Vegas, and MGM. Yeah, especially at the MGM. That might be the worst hotel room I ever stayed in my entire life.
Yes.
Like worse than like.
And it was for a conference, so we were paying like $500 a night, I think, for that hotel room, which is nuts. I think it usually goes for like under 100. It's like $78 a night usually. But it just so happened that we were there for CES, and it was just so bad.
So we always do a lot of research on what that low rate might mean when we're in Las Vegas, because sometimes it might, even if you're just paying a little bit of like $10 extra a night or something like that, it might benefit in the long run of your like vacation happiness. But again, if it's just a place where you're putting your head and you're going to be out and about the entire time, feel free to not listen.
That said, you know, we stay at a very reasonable rate at the Vidara Hotel.
Bye, Sue. By the way, thanks for joining.
Thanks, Scorpio Sue. So when we were actually out in Vegas this last time, so like 2 months ago or whatever it was, we stayed at the Vidara for a night. Was it 1 night? 2 nights? 1 night?
We were at the Vidara for 1 night. Yeah, 1 night.
So 1 night at the Vidara on our way up to St. George, and we loved it. It was actually a very nice hotel. Like, the hotel room was very nice. It was very affordable. You still had to pay the resort fee, even though, like, a lot of their amenities were closed.
Yeah.
But even with the resort fee, it was, like, a little over $100 for the night, I think. And it was super nice, clean, modern. Typically, I mean, you have access to, like, a refrigerator and all that kind of stuff, a little kitchenette thing. And it's, like, one of, I think, only 2, maybe the only, like, nice hotel on the Strip that has like a little kitchenette type thing in all their rooms. So the Vidara was pretty cool. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, I'm just a big fan of the Vidara in general.
You didn't have to pay for valet parking.
I just want to say the kitchenette though was not stocked with any kitchen stuff. So if you are planning on booking the Vidara because of the kitchenette, which is actually why I wanted to stay there, I was so surprised. And since we were only there for 1 night, I didn't take the time to figure out if it was like, if it was like I would have had to request a check-in for the supplies or whatever, but like there wasn't even like plates or anything.
Yeah, there wasn't things. There was no like utensils, there was no cutlery, plates or anything like that.
Which for having a kitchenette in the room, like normally they have those things, and I think it was a pandemic related decision, so just double check if that's the hotel you're looking at.
So Low Rollers Craps is saying about the MGM Grand. Thanks for the info. What I will say though is like I got booked in a room at the same rate as my boss when we were there, and I talked to him about his room, and he said his room was really nice.
But I think he had gotten upgraded.
He probably got upgraded or something, but like, for what it's worth, like, not all the rooms at the MGM Grand are terrible. It's just the one that we were in was probably in, like, not a great line. We even got moved.
Yeah, because with the first one, we were like, absolutely not.
The first room smelled a little bit like mold. And so we moved, and they put us in another one that was like, well, at least it smelled fine. But it was still very dingy. Mold, I'm not gonna lie to you. It was still very dingy, not great. But at the end of the day, it did its job. It gave us a place to sleep.
Yeah.
And you still got to have a good time at the Canyon Ranch.
I did, which is at the Venetian. It's not at
so,
the Jim Grant.
Lori, is it Lori Sims?
Lori Lori
Yes, Lori. No, wait.
says,
nope.
be sure to hit the thumbs
That
up.
one.
Which
That's
is
what I was looking
so
for.
true. Thank you so much, Lori. Yes. If you guys are watching right now, it really helps this channel to hit the thumbs up button on the video.
It tells YouTubes that we're a cool place to hang out and have fun.
And it just kind of helps YouTube understand, like, promote this channel to other people who might be interested in travel content too, so we can keep the conversation a-flowing.
Yeah. And for those who are curious about our wine choice for the evening, because I know that's always like a big ticket item.
Yeah.
So when we first got here to California, we went to Total Wine, because before this, for those who are not familiar, before this we were in Utah. And Utah has very interesting rules regarding the sale of alcohol. So you have to go to kind of like a state-run monopoly store. And that's where you can buy, things that are over, I think, 4% alcohol.
Not the board game, but he's saying, like
the state has a monopoly on the sale of alcohol.
Correct.
Yes. So we went there, and, there's a very limited selection of wine and liquor and things like that. So when we got to California, we're like, woohoo, we're going to go get, good stuff. We went to Total Wine, and Total Wine, it's like a Walmart full of wine, and it was beautiful. And
we, kind of befriended the sales guy at the end.
Yeah, there was a sales guy who, we had a good time talking to, and, another person came over and was like, oh, and he, went and talked to him. I'm like, he was our friend.
He liked our taste.
It also, he'd point at something, we'd, pick it up and we'd buy it. So, there's that, too. Yeah, so we are drinking Tannat wine. So, if you know the Walters, they love, Mark Walters and Jocelyn, love Tannat wine. It's an Uruguayan wine that we fell in love with when we went to Uruguay on our honeymoon a couple years ago, back in 2017. Yeah. And so we are drinking, we had never had this one before. It's a Tannat. And it's so good. Definitely, if you have an opportunity to try Tannat.
Yeah, it's just
definitely,
it's very
definitely
similar.
Get it. It's really good.
It's like a smoother Cabernet Sauvignon, and it's just a really drinkable red wine. Yeah. So, and it's usually pretty affordable, even though it's imported here.
It's not as well known as a Malbec from Mendoza in Argentina, because Uruguay actually probably drinks 90% of the Tannat wine that they produce, so they're not exporting quite as much.
Derek just totally made up that statistic, but yes, probably 90%.
I feel like somebody told us that.
Oh, really? I thought you were just pulled it out of the air. I know that they drink a large majority, but I don't know if we know a number. But yeah, it's we've only recently started seeing it in the past year or so in wine shops in the U.S., and we're very excited. And every time we see it, we try to buy it, so that way they keep it coming. But yeah, there were maybe 3 different options for Tannat wine in this giant warehouse of wine.
4%. Uruguay only exports 4% of their wine.
Wow, that is really
so 96% is drank in Uruguay.
Amazing. Okay, so if you guys see it, we saw it at Benny's in Chicago, and
Total Wine here
in California. So if you see it in your local wine store, give it a try if you're into red wine. Mary Ellen says she buys Magner's Original and Pear at Total Wine, where she is, which is on the East Coast. Very cool. I mean, I love Magner's, so approve.
She's a big cider fan. So
I haven't been drinking it as much lately, but I'm a very big cider fan.
Yeah.
Lori Sim says, "Oh, Waltersville is gonna be jealous." Yeah.
Yeah, they always give us crap when we get to Tannat wine, because they don't have it there in Champagne. So, Thomas Reiser says, "I'm convinced that hotels might be a little vindictive against you when you ask to change rooms." Mm-hmm. And he had a bad experience with the Hilton Garden Inn in Frankfurt after he complained about smoke smells. So
yeah,
that's unfortunate. We've had pretty good experiences with Hilton over the years. We did have an issue with them with bed bugs actually once.
Well, that's
which
funny.
I know is what he mentioned.
Yeah.
But the DoubleTree in Sonoma, which is where it happened, was very responsive. They were very responsible in terms of moving our rooms, paying for remediation of our luggage and things like that, to make sure that we felt very comfortable going back home and not worrying about having issues with, maybe some things creeping into our luggage and taking back to our home.
So
I was very impressed by how they handled it personally.
Thomas, that's really like horrible. As somebody who has experienced having bed bugs, in a hotel room, it's terrible and scary, and you feel like even if they're not on you, you feel itchy, and it just can really ruin your trip. So I'm very sorry to hear that happened to you. Hopefully it wasn't necessarily something that they did on purpose, because from my experience, all the Hilton hotels that we've stayed at have treated us very well, and also too, like Derek was saying, the Hilton, like, as soon as we alerted them that this happened, like, they brought in an exterminator within hours and serviced that room and all of the rooms around. So if whatever hotel you were staying at didn't do that, they are not following Hilton's protocol, and that is an individual hotel issue.
Yeah, I'd say it's more of an issue of how they react to it rather than if they have them. Because, what I will say about bug issues within hotels is it can be the nicest hotel. It could be a Four Seasons. It could be the Peninsula. It doesn't matter. They can have issues with things coming in because, it's not about them so much as it's about the guests that stay there. And, at the end of the day, even the nicest hotels can be inflicted by whatever. And it really comes down to how they behave in the after effects and how they treat the people that are affected. I think that's the biggest thing. And we were very impressed by the Sonoma DoubleTree that we stayed at. They comped our room for the night. They gave they handled it very, very well.
Yeah.
And Lori says, bug topic again.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into that because it's like I have like PTSD from.
This is either where we lose people or we gain people. We're not sure.
But Thomas is saying that he has great experience with Hilton overall, and he's been a Diamond member for 6 years running, which is funny that you say that because we are gunning for the Diamond status at Hilton this year. We've made a decision about it.
All right, new topic of conversation: elite statuses.
Derek's like, pause on the California talk. Pivot, because this has been like a huge thing that we have been strategizing about over the past week.
So Hilton probably has like the easiest time this year achieving the most elite status. So their most elite status is Diamond. And this year you only need to hit 30 nights to hit a Diamond status at Hilton. Which
we'll say is a lot. However, there were rollover nights from last year.
But it's way less than usual. And
correct.
Typically it would be significantly more than that. So, because of the pandemic and everything, they've taken it down quite a bit. So it's the easiest time to hit it that it's ever been.
Right.
And because we've been gold members for a long time, and we're actually gold members because of a credit card, we get rollover nights from the year prior for any nights that we achieve over like hitting the status. So we stayed at Hilton's. I stayed at Hilton's last year 8 times. So we had 8 rollover nights from last year. So suddenly we're like, we only need 22 nights. And we stayed at 2 Hiltons on our way across the country down to like Arizona. So we only need 20 nights now to hit Diamond status. So we are starting to think through our stays along the route back home. And we're thinking about like all the Hiltons that we can stay at along the route so we can hit Diamond status by the time we get back to Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, so we are hopeful that we get to jump from gold to diamond.
I've only been Diamond status one time.
Thomas's cool club.
And it was really nice to be Diamond status because I always felt like the upgrades that you got were like fairly nice.
The air conditioning's back.
And I really enjoyed that. So.
Yeah, we've Hilton will upgrade you, like even if you pay for like the cheapest room, you can still get upgraded even to a suite if you have diamond status.
Yeah, it's really cool.
Which is neato.
Yeah. And actually, when we had diamond status, we stayed at the Waldorf in Chicago, and we got upgraded into a very nice.
Yeah,
very nice
that's true. Yeah,
really
that did
nice.
happen. That was awesome. So we're hopeful that we can make that work. We're kind of strategizing to make that happen.
Yeah.
Because it's just like it's one of those years because we're out kind of on the road a lot. And it's you need fewer nights than ever before.
Honestly, it's one of those things where it's so easy this year to get it that I would like think about doing like kind of like how people do mileage runs to try to get elite status for airlines. You can do a similar thing with hotels where you book like the cheapest Hilton room that you can find in your area. And you book it for the night, you go, you check in, you mess up the sheets, and then leave, and you don't even sleep there. It's just like within driving distance to your house. Yep. It's like a thing that people do, where they're like, oh my god, I found like a $50 a night place, and they just like go, like mess up the bed sheets.
Or if you want to like escape from your family, you can just sleep there, yeah.
Yep. And Nick P.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say, Nick P's bringing up something, which is he's really a big fan of Marriott brands. Mm-hmm. He pays everything through the card, and he gets 2 points per dollar spent, 6 points for every dollar on their hotel nights.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so Marriott's really cool, I'm especially a big fan ever since they bought SPG, because I really like SPG hotels like the W and things like that. Very nice. And also, I mean, the Marriott owns the Ritz-Carlton, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an amazing brand
Lovely.
of hotels. I've stayed at a few of those in the past and always had a great time.
We stayed at one on our honeymoon, and
in Chile, in Santiago, and we found out later that it's like the cheapest like Ritz-Carlton in the world, maybe.
In terms of points redemptions, right?
No, just cost.
Cost too.
It's like the cheapest per night rate. And it's beautiful, and it's phenomenal, and we're like, oh my god, I love this. Can we stay at Ritz-Carlton's all the time?
No.
But it was lovely.
Yes, we felt very luxurious.
But Marriott's are nice.
Yeah, so we ran, and through the credit card that we have, the MX Platinum, Derek mentioned about Hilton, we get gold status, but we also get Marriott gold status through that card as well. What does stink is, since we're a married couple, Derek is the one that has all of our former hotel stay nights in his name, and so he's getting all of the Hilton Diamond status, like, stuff, and that means that if I ever need to stay at a Hilton without him, I don't get the benefit. So it would be really, really neat to be able to share that as a couple, but it's not going to happen.
But that's not true even. Like, we could book it. Okay,
no,
so you can act as like a points bank, where then I could book it in my name with her as like a co-person. She could check in, and it would be totally fine. That's like what your aunt does.
Oh.
So it's totally doable still as like a married couple.
Okay, we'll talk about that offline, because I feel like I thought differently.
So Tommy's saying, well, first Mary Ellen Dillon stayed at the Ritz-Carlton in Chicago, and it was amazing.
I haven't been to that one, even though we're from Chicago. I bet it's really nice, though. I feel like I've walked past it a bunch.
Lori Sims, she has her own cards. She has her own credit cards.
Yeah.
But the status stuff, it's just, you get higher status if you use one person consistently, kind of thing. Like she has like the Hotels.com account. That's and all true. That kind of stuff, where she accrues those benefits. And then anything, because I'm traveling for business, so I'm more likely to book hotels through Hilton, Marriott, whatever. So I'm a lot more likely to accrue higher status via that stuff. So we just put it all on me, so that we achieve hopefully the highest status we could possibly achieve as a couple. But Tommy is saying that he has never chased status for hotels, or really anything except for airlines. Like to book places that I think look neat and interesting, as opposed to staying in a brand. We feel that way about certain locations. In like, a lot of times when we'll go to like a London or an Amsterdam or something like that, we'll stay in more of a boutique hotel. Unless, there's a compelling reason to stay at a branded hotel. As opposed to, like, if we're just doing a cross-country road trip, staying at like a Home 2 Suites, which is the Hilton branded kind of extended stay type location with like a little kitchenette. For us, it's like, oh, this is just a place to stay, a place to sleep, wake up, maybe make some eggs, and move on. But yeah, no, we've stayed in some really cool boutique hotels in Amsterdam, London, Bruges. We stayed in some pretty cool little places, but at the same time, the more you use, like, the more brand loyal you are, the more you can utilize those benefits, and they do start to add up.
Yeah.
So, like, the free breakfasts at any Hilton property when you hit diamond status is pretty valuable if you stay at a lot of Hiltons, because especially if you stay at any of the more expensive brands, that can add up quite significantly, because the free breakfast at the Waldorf, for instance, is significantly more expensive than at a Home 2 Suites. Home 2 Suites is free no matter who you are, I think. And, whereas at like the Waldorf, you'd spend $20 per person, if not more.
Yeah.
So, those things can add up more if you use them consistently. So, it's how you value those things.
All right, so Thomas is saying the same thing that you were saying, and now I feel like I should have done this ages ago, when I would be like going to Paris by myself. I should have just booked stuff.
Yes.
Plus, and then added my name to it. And it's funny that you say that, Thomas, because that's actually like I feel like I just log into your account half the time and book stuff for us and add my name to it anyway. So it's like, why haven't I been doing this? All right, 2022, here I go.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're gonna figure this out, and that way I can earn nights for you.
So
right?
for anybody who didn't tune into it, Yellow Productions actually had a really good live stream on this a few weeks ago.
Yellow Productions, which is another YouTube channel.
Yeah, so Yellow Productions is a YouTube channel. He does some really great content and has really, really valuable information. And he did one on elite status at 4 of the major hotel brands. So IHG, so Intercontinental, Marriott, Bonvoy, Hilton Honors, and Hyatt. So he did those 4 things. He ran through like the lists, how to earn them, and things of that nature. What are the benefits? So for anybody who's looking for more information on that, I would go check out that live stream. He did a very comprehensive job going through that stuff. And then, additionally, if you want more information on any sort of like hotel hacking, credit card hacking, and that kind of stuff, the Points guy is probably one of my like go-to sources for anything around that.
But also NerdWallet has been growing
NerdWallet,
their content in terms of travel hacking recently.
Yeah.
That's a huge, huge push. I was actually able to talk with a person at NerdWallet last summer, kind of about their push about that. So.
Yeah. So Lori says, now that the road trip is running down, what's your next international travel? We don't know.
Okay, so we want to get abroad as quickly as is feasible and realistic. We were talking on our walk this morning. Again, we're 65 years old. And
Don't I look it?
We've aged so well.
Say no.
It's the walks. Just kidding. So,
SPF in my moisturizer. That's really
there you
what
go.
does it.
We were saying like how cool it would be just to like be able to go to Turkey once we've hit full immunity and stuff like that, because it's open. But I don't know if we're quite at that point yet. And so we were talking maybe about, I know it's like, well, maybe we are, like, let's not, but I think we were talking a little bit more about Mexico, and if that would make sense. So.
Yeah. Well, Mexico, at least we speak the language, speak some of the language.
Yeah.
As opposed to
although
we speak
I feel like
nothing.
my Spanish has gotten really rusty.
Yeah, it's rusty, but like we could survive.
Yeah.
We could get by, make ourselves understood, which is helpful in case we got like stuck there for any amount of time. And English is pretty widely available in like areas where we would likely be. So that's one thing. And it's close. It's really close, which makes it feel safer and easier from that perspective.
And we also would look at like Caribbean islands and stuff too. We're just we've never been big like all-inclusive resort people, And so those are the places that are offering like the rapid tests for, right before you fly back, which is still required as of right now to get back into the country.
I'd go.
So we're trying to figure out what that would look like. Honestly, we don't really have much. Here, I'll let you.
Yep.
While I keep talking, we don't have much in terms of like stuff perfectly planned after like 2 weeks from now. So we'll figure out what our life looks like for like May and June coming up pretty soon.
Yeah, and the way I think about it is, the road trip is going to be done by the end of May. We'll be kind of done, at least with this portion of it. Maybe we end up, heading out east or southeast or something like that once we're fully vaxxed, and, maybe even head to New York for a little bit. We were actually talking about that, that as well. The idea of, being a little bit more comfortable with flights and, heading to places like jumping on a plane and going somewhere for like 4 or 5 days. And that becomes a lot more achievable at that point. And it would be great to get out to New York and see our friends that we haven't seen in like over a year now that live out there. It'd be phenomenal to do that kind of stuff. Or, we have a number of friends that actually like just before or during the pandemic moved down to Atlanta, and so it'd be great to move out to get out to Atlanta and check, see them. So there's a lot of places on our list like just domestically that we haven't been able to get to that in a normal year we would go to. So
a lot of you guys have said so many cool things all at once, so I'm just going to kind of run through them in order. So people are kind of applauding Turkey. Tommy says Turkey is great, go, go, go.
I want to go.
Kim M says Istanbul is on her list, but we'll probably try somewhere English-speaking first trip post-vaccine to dip my toes in. I totally get that.
There's like a curve to getting back to travel.
Opens up. Yeah, there
like
is.
Getting back to travel, there's like a real like curve to it, because you'd think like we travel so much, and we were traveling not that long ago. Back in December, we were in the UK, right. But like for getting ready for this trip, we're like, what goes in a toiletry bag?
And so
like
my
so tough.
My aunt, who I'm extremely close with, we saw her in a socially distanced way last week as she was in California, and she was saying like, because she hasn't really traveled anywhere like necessarily she went to California months ago, and then she was back here again, but like she used to travel a lot for work and stuff, but like she hasn't in the past year. She's like, I'm so rusty. Like I didn't even like remember what goes in my suitcase. And so I was thinking about making a video about like, hey, I get it. We're all out of practice. Like this is what to do. Like these are the things to gather, and even like spring clean your stuff, your travel stuff, because like you might have, if you're like us who travel a lot, like we have kind of those like grab and go like medicine kits and toiletries kits that like those almost like stay in our luggage in regular years and everything, and it's like some of those things might need to be replaced or at least like looked at.
Yeah, check your luggage. Does it have a weird smell?
Yeah,
like do you need to like air it out?
Right.
Like what do you gotta do?
And so
right?
There's a process, right, of getting your suitcase out of storage and getting your toiletries together, and the medicine kit that maybe you used to take with you all the time. Maybe some of that stuff's expired and you need to go out to Walgreens and get some new stuff. So, and it's all understandable. We're all in that same boat, even the two of us who we've been kind of on the road since August, for better or worse. Like, there's certain places we've stayed at longer than others, but we haven't been back to Chicago since August. And, our stuff is in storage. So
yeah, we should probably check on it.
Yeah.
Make sure that like a leak didn't happen right over our units. That would be
it's
terrible.
probably fine.
All right, so we do have a question from Low Rollers. Is asking about, what about Charleston or Savannah?
Yes.
Are y'all more international? Sorry, I'm new. I've heard San Juan, Puerto Rico has some good rates.
Don't be sorry. We're so glad to have you.
We're super glad to have you.
So we do both. And right now we're definitely... What does that sound?
It's the sprinklers.
Oh, the sprinklers turned on outside. Right now we're definitely doing U.S. stuff as we wait to get our vaccines and stuff like that.
But that said, we were in the UK last year from the end of September through early December. And we were there for about 3 months. And we do a lot of international travel as well. That said, we like to do a good mix of both in a given year.
Yeah.
I'd say.
Yeah.
But Savannah and Charleston, so I would love to go to both of those places. I've never been to either.
I was going to ask, because I have not been to either, but
No,
I know
I've
that
never
you've
been.
done your Southern road trip, which he did with like a bunch of his buddies.
Yeah, we did like a Southern law school road trip.
But you never got like that far east, right?
No.
So those two cities are ones that I really, really want to go to. And you know, they look beautiful in photos.
I've got some cousins in Savannah that I'd love to go visit, and I've heard phenomenal things about like kind of the colonial heritage and some of the different things you can see there and stuff. It's supposed to be pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's definitely on our list, and we kind of have like a southern road trip mapped out that we had started mapping out last summer. We just hadn't felt entirely comfortable with some of the like what are the words the travel restrictions going to the south back last summer before we went to the UK. So we decided that we were going to kind of stick to the Midwest areas back then. Now we've gone out west and completely driven out west. We're going to go back kind of like the northern route to come back. But I would really, really like to hit some of those southern states because I'm about to cross off a ton of states on our way home from here that I haven't been to, and I think I'll have maybe 8 or 10 states still that I need to hit in order to get to all 50 after the end of this. And a lot of them are like North Carolina, South Carolina, Alabama, and Mississippi, and Louisiana. So that's five of the ones that I will.
Then Alaska and Hawaii. So
Alaska,
then there's
Hawaii.
just one more. Oregon.
That's not true. Yeah, it's probably more like 10 because it's going to be Alaska, Hawaii, Oregon. Wait. Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina, Rhode Island, and Vermont. Yeah, I'll have 10 states left after this road trip.
Come on, does Rhode Island even exist, people? I'm joking.
I'm just upset that I didn't get to Rhode Island or Vermont during the 8 years that we lived in New York.
Yeah. So, Nick B says, I'll be making my November trip a road trip, all with it surrounding spending my 30th birthday with Darian. A milestone birthday definitely needs to be in a warmer state. I agree. That's very cool. Kim M says, I've been listening while I bake this evening. California looks good on you, too. You look relaxed and tan.
Derek's especially tan. Derek's been outside. I mean, I'm not a tan person to begin with. Derek is, and he's getting all that good sun.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much. And then also Katie Sims says she's been listening in the background too. California weather and food sounded so amazing. Makes me want to go to Southern California. Turkey would be so cool. And Katie used to be out here in California.
Yeah. Maryland, yeah.
East. We actually still have a whole section that we're going to talk about in regards to California.
Yeah,
we'll get to it
here in a second. Maryland Dillon says I'll be visiting Atlanta ASAP after the second vaccine too. Very cool. Yeah,
we want to get to Atlanta too.
Yeah, we have really good friends in Atlanta, and one group of them just got a dog, and she wants to go be best friends with it.
So I like everybody's dogs because I don't have one, including our neighbors, their dog's 12 weeks old, and I really am like that creepy neighbor who's like, your dog is so cute.
You're talking about the neighbor here?
Yeah, right there.
It was like crying, and
I just went next to the fence today while it was crying, and I was like, it's okay. I'm right here.
She did. She was talking to it. Are you okay?
Are you okay? I was like, you're gonna bark yourself real thirsty. It's really hot out.
It was very adorable.
But yeah,
So,
I got to
Lori
see our
Sims,
friend's dog in San Diego last weekend, so I'm living life.
his name is Pepper. He's very large. Lori Sims says, Oaxaca, Mexico, beautiful, great food
Yes.
and art. Puerto Escondido is a smaller, non-all-inclusive place on the beach. Very cool.
Love, yeah, I've heard of Puerto Escondido. It sounds
Yeah.
sounds great. Well, I would really love to go to Oaxaca just for the food in general. Like,
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
I think it would be an awesome destination.
I just want to do
I
like
wish you could fly direct to Oaxaca from the U.S., but I believe there's only, like, even before the pandemic, it was only, you had to transfer.
So Thomas Reiser has not been on a plane since March 7th of 2020.
Oof.
And for Nick P, it's been April 25th of 19.
Wow.
So it's been a little while. And you
Wait, I
already
really
said
need to
about
find
Katie
out
Smith,
some
right?
of the... Yes, yes.
Roxanne Budd is here. What's up,
Hi,
Roxanne?
Roxanne. Welcome. Thanks for joining.
She's late,
No
but
worries
glad
about
to see
being
us
late.
both, and she would love to go to Savannah.
Yes, Savannah's supposed to be beautiful.
And according to Mary Ellen Darlin, the ship show is currently in St. John, U.S. Virgin Islands right now. It's beautiful.
Cool. Oh man, I'll have
There
to
are
look at
quite.
photos.
All right, so for those who are wanting to get some international travel, there's quite a few in the Caribbean that you can go to right now that maybe just need like a negative COVID test to get out to. It might be worth checking out.
If you are, I mean, I feel like I should just say this because, why not? If you are wanting to kind of get international once things start opening up, just double check a lot of your IDs and stuff that we haven't really been using. Like, double check that your passport, it doesn't need to be renewed, or your
TSA pre-check,
TSA pre-check, or
global entry.
exactly. I'm sure you guys are all on it who are on this chat. Like, I feel like I just kind of have that general, like, all right, this is when my stuff expires sort of, thing in the back of my mind. But, you haven't been thinking about it, maybe you just need to double check those dates.
Tommy Dotson's heading to Savannah and Charleston next month. Repeat
Awesome.
visit for both. That's awesome. And Lori Sims says, I have a goal to do a hot air balloon in Turkey
I think an airplane's
that
flying
my
over
now
us right now.
deceased older son encouraged us to do.
Aw.
That's a very special thing, Lori. Thanks for sharing that with us. Hot air balloons are pretty cool.
That'll be so special
that'll be
if you
very
get
special.
to go.
So
I know in Cappadocia in Turkey,
Yeah.
that's very popular for hot air balloons, so I'm kind of guessing that's maybe the area that he would have been referring to.
it's kind of like in that middle of the country. It's got very dramatic rock formations, geologic formations.
What a
lot of
wonderful
cave
tribute that would
systems
be
as well.
to him.
Yeah, a lot of cave systems. I think I was just reading some article. I don't know if it's through like Condé Nast or who it was talking about like the underground city and the caves and stuff in that area, which are supposed to be very breathtaking and quite beautiful. But yeah, we've had a good experience with, we did a hot air balloon ride in the Loire Valley that was magical and kind of one of those things that you think back on and you're like, that was a heck of an experience.
Yeah.
So
And Mary Ellen is saying, when you go to Rhode Island and Vermont, you need to come see me in Connecticut. Girl, I would love to.
we like Connecticut.
We do. I've been to Connecticut a bunch and have never had a bad experience there. It's always been great. And then also, I think technically we've committed to going to a wedding in Long Island this summer, which we committed to in like 2019, because the person that we know getting married has actually had this particular date for years now, but I'm not 100% sure what's happening with it and if weddings are happening this summer and stuff. I don't know if you guys maybe know of people getting married and stuff this summer. This is the only one that's been on our calendar and on our radar. So we're just trying to figure out
So
what's happening.
There's a Big Wide World is on. What's
Hi,
up, guys?
There's a Big Wide World. Welcome in.
And
Byron Aubrey's on too.
What's up? So Big Wide
Welcome.
World says that Savannah looks lovely. It's on our list if we can finally get back to the U.S. Very cool. Yeah, Savannah's a place to visit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very high on my list. Very high. Savannah and Charleston.
Yeah.
And you have a fraternity brother who is a doctor in Charleston.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a surgeon. So Lori,
the reason why I know like where all these guys are is because Derek and I have been together since we were 18. So like his fraternity brothers are often just like my friends too, and I just kind of like know where they are.
So Lori is saying that Savannah and New Orleans are some of the few places in America that are on her like to go list.
Yeah, New Orleans is like that's another one
That's
very
super high.
very high. Well, we were
Super,
trying
super
to go
high.
to New Orleans on our trip out here. On our road trip out here, but we couldn't make it work.
Well, there's a couple of things. One of them was it was hard to make work, but it was also
We would have had to add
it wasn't
a day.
it wasn't worth the extra travel for that time in the pandemic.
Right.
We want to go when we were vaccinated and could feel a little bit more safe doing kind of like the more
Jazz clubs.
the more typical things.
Yeah.
Listen to jazz, go to like Bourbon Street, eat beignets, all the good things.
Lorison says, I've checked with Amex Platinum. I am due to renew and will go with Global Entry this time. Need to arrange. I think I mentioned this on some other live stream at some point in time, but in 2020 I renewed my Global Entry and my Amex Platinum card completely reimbursed me right away, no issues. So it was free. Free to get Global Entry, which also gives you TSA pre-check just from having that awesome stuff. Byron says, I'm really looking forward to traveling again to areas outside of New Jersey. Yes, New Jersey and Southeast Pennsylvania. I finally got vaccinated today. Yay! And hopefully that will change that. I'm so excited
Congratulations on your vaccination.
Yes.
That's very awesome.
Yes, we got vaccinated last week, what was it? Last week? I don't know. April 1st. And
yes,
we know how that feels. And it just, like, it gives you, like, this sense of hope that you're going to be able to have a sense of normalcy. So I'm very excited for you.
Yeah. So that's very cool. So you're in Jersey, I assume. We have family that live in New Jersey and Boston and that general vicinity. Where did your family live? It was in Montclair, New Jersey, and that was a beautiful part of the state. But we've only really been to, other than Montclair to see her family, we've only really been to like Hoboken and Jersey City type areas.
I've been to different places in New Jersey. Yeah, but
I did not know.
Yeah.
You learn new things every day.
I even went to a Jets game. Woo! I know, Liz, I made the mistake last time with only doing TSA pre-check. Now I'm going for Global Entry. Do it.
Yeah, it's totally worth it.
Yeah.
If you go abroad at all.
Listen, the moment you'll realize it's worth it is when you fly back from somewhere and you're exhausted and you just want to go home and everybody's traveling again and you see the customs line and you realize all you have to do is go like put your fingerprints on a little thing, get a little slip,
sanitize your hands afterwards.
Sanitize your hands, and then go get your bag, and then you're done. Then you say bye. You say bye airport.
Not having to wait in that line is a godsend.
It's like the best way to return from a trip is to not have to wait in that customs line.
Yeah. So Thomas Reiser also has Global Entry, and he recommends it. And Darian is saying, I had my second this past Tuesday. Yay!
Woo!
Congratulations, sir. That's very awesome.
I love that all of our fellow travelers
Hopefully you are
getting
feeling
it going.
good.
Post
that.
That's true. Like, are you feeling okay?
We did have, since we haven't had one of these since we got vaccinated, obviously, because we haven't had these in the month. We did have some reactions to the first vaccine. It was very mild. Kind of headaches and a little bit of achiness. It was super mild. It was for a day.
But we were not expecting after vaccine number 1 for either of us to have a reaction because of what we had been hearing in the news and stuff like that. And both of us just felt kind of off. It was fine. We felt completely fine in the morning. So what happened was it wasn't the day that we got vaccinated. It was the next day. So maybe 24 hours later, we both around the exact same time we're like, we need to cancel everything. Like, we need to just, like, chill in the hotel room and...
Yeah, minor headaches. It wasn't too bad.
And then in the morning we woke up and we were fine. Yeah.
So, we're interested to see what happens on our second dose, but, totally worth it to know that we're probably, 60 to 70%, immune at this point, which is kind of nice.
But we had talked to a bunch of people, and apparently, like, younger people have stronger reactions, and so we're guessing it's just from our very strong young immune system.
Tend to have stronger reactions.
Yeah.
But still totally worth it, 100%. Trying to get back to the live chat.
Darian is saying he's feeling out of it, minus keeping the bathroom busy. Yikes. Yeah. Okay, well, I mean, no matter what, vaccines are worth it in our opinion. So hopefully we're all gonna get there with it. So Lori Sim says, or you could do like I do and have 2 sprained ankles and in a wheelchair through customs at LAX, and you don't have to wait. Yeah, I mean, you could do that, but don't. You don't have to. Man, that's brutal, but at least you didn't have to wait. Darian says he's feeling great, good. All right, so should we get back to our final part of our California list?
Yeah.
So the final part, you guys, that we're going to do... Oh, wait, did we already do the hotel options?
No.
Shoot, there's 2 parts, but this one's short.
1.5.
Yeah, it's like 1.25.
So hotel stuff. So obviously, Southern California, it's a very broad thing, but obviously there's a ton of like hotel chains. You can do VRBO, and Airbnb is actually quite large here. Yeah. So lots of options on Airbnb. So if you're looking for accommodations, there's a plethora of options here.
Okay, so let me just
discount to as expensive as it gets.
Let me just interrupt.
Okay.
So sorry. Love you.
I love you.
The hotel chains, like any of them, you can find in the bigger cities. Even in Palm Springs, there's a lot of options. In the smaller towns, you're probably going to get the main ones like a Marriott or Hilton or Hyatt. And then I would say that there's also, like, if you're into boutique hotels, which sometimes boutique hotels can be super, super great, then there's different, like, destinations that maybe have great boutique hotels too. Then also, like Derek was saying, Airbnb is stronger, we found, than VRBO in Southern California, which is different from when we were in Utah. Sorry, Derek's doing ice. Which is different than we were in Utah. Utah was definitely like a VRBO place, in St. George at least. So that's something to consider. The things to really think about when you're looking at planning a trip to Southern California is that price that you're going to see, whether it's a hotel or an Airbnb, that price you're going to see online is going to have a lot more to it than that initial price. So when you're kind of figuring out your budget for a California trip, you need to really like go in and figure out exactly what that final cost will look like before figuring out if that hotel isn't within your budget or something, because there's very high hotel taxes here.
Yeah, so like
crazy high.
I was looking at our bill the other day from a hotel, and it's a 14% hotel tax plus a flat $5 tax plus a bunch of other like little incidental taxes.
There can be resort fees if you're staying at somewhere
resort
higher
fees
end.
Can be expensive. You're talking about $35 or more.
And if you're driving, which we have our car here and we're driving everywhere, and honestly, like, unless you're going to be taking Ubers to all your places, like, you're going to need a car to get to different things in California.
Yeah.
The self-parking, not even just valet parking, but self-parking fees can be astronomical. Like some of the Hilton hotels that we were looking at, the self-parking fees are like $60 a night, which is crazy when you kind of like need to have a car.
Yeah, the extra taxes that they tack on.
So here in Palm Springs, gas is right now like $4 a gallon, which is way higher than the national average. It was the same in La Jolla, which is where we were in San Diego. It's just extremely high, and we kind of strategize like, okay, we're in Yuma, let's fill up on gas. Like,
well, what was funny was we were actually up in the mountains in the
San Juancito Mountains.
Yeah, so we were up in the mountains, and the gas was actually cheaper up there. It was like 30 cents a gallon cheaper there than it was down here in like Palm Springs. And I was like, that
What's
makes
happening?
no sense to me. We're on like the side of a mountain.
Yeah.
But, you know, it is what it is.
Right. And then also too, like with just going back to the hotels, the last thing I wanted to say is that, especially during spring and summer, get your reservations in advance.
Yeah.
For hotels, Airbnbs, anything. And then
Things are filling up again.
if you're looking at kind of like those weekend destinations, we were like Palm Springs is a weekend destination for LA people and San Diego people. So you want to like get a weekend booking as far in advance as possible too, in order to save money. Because we were talking with our friend who we saw in San Diego. He's a doctor at one of the hospitals in San Diego, and I asked him like, hey, you know, of you and your friends and colleagues and stuff, like, where do people go when they do kind of like driving trips or weekend trips? And he said Temecula. He said Palm Springs are like huge for people in San Diego. So
Or even going up to LA.
yeah, LA too.
Because you can take the train from San Diego to LA pretty quick.
Yeah, and vice versa. So it's just, they're popular weekend spots. And so it's just good to book not only restaurants, but hotels in advance.
All right, now we've got a couple of quick tips.
This is the lightning round, where we call it the fast tips. This is the last section.
Oh God, it's so long.
It's probably less long than it looks, because some of them are just like I wrote out a lot.
Okay,
of
so
sentences.
the first one we already kind of covered, which is you're likely going to be driving no matter what when you get here. You know, depending on the city you go to, whether it's San Diego, and its surrounding areas like La Jolla, Del Mar, etc., or if you're up in like LA, Santa Monica, Long Beach, you know, whatever. Likely there's going to be some driving involved, maybe Ubers and Lyfts and things of that nature. But, you know, it might make sense to rent a car, depending on where you are. Because if you are in a place like LA and you're staying, you know, in one part of town, but you plan to visit all over the place, having a car is going to make a lot of sense, as long as, you know, it's cost effective once you know, tack in, you know, parking costs. So you're probably going to be driving a little bit here in Southern California.
Sorry, I just want to answer questions real quick.
Okay.
Yes, but agree to everything Derek just said. Lori Sims asks, any planes flying over that have been bad in the evenings? So for those of you guys who have kind of heard planes fly over during this live stream, hopefully you haven't, but maybe, we are on a flight path, unfortunately, on this Airbnb that we were not aware of when we booked it. But there's two things that we do. One is we have a fan on in our bedroom at night, so that way we really don't hear anything.
The bedroom's upstairs, up these stairs, in fact.
Yeah.
So it actually gets a little warm up there. So yeah, we have two big fans kind of blowing on us.
Yeah. So, and if we don't have the fans, because when we first got here, it's like only in the 70s during the day. We just played white noise from YouTube. There's like YouTube videos that are like 10 straight hours of like white noise that you can find. So we solved that issue pretty quickly, but honestly, there's a lot fewer airplanes in the evening, so it doesn't bother us too much. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like during the early mornings, that we're like, because it's so quiet around the neighborhood that you just hear it. And sorry, let me just add, in Palm Springs, the airport's like in the city. So like that's
it's close to downtown.
Probably half of Palm Springs can hear every airplane fly in.
Maybe. And Lori is agreeing. She's saying that basically no public transit here in California. So do not plan on it, and you will need a car. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's definitely true, and it can get quite expensive because if you're trying to rely on Uber and Lyft, because if you're trying to go from like Santa Monica to WeHo, like West Hollywood, or down to Long Beach, you're talking about an hour-long ride, if not more, so each way. So if you're trying to see a lot of the city, it can get real expensive real quick using Uber, Lyft, etc. So it might make sense to just rent a car.
Yep.
At the end of the day, and it gives you a lot more freedom. which is a beautiful thing.
So we're looking at, like, if we do stay in a hotel, when we go to LA, we might find a local parking garage that's, maybe a few blocks from the hotel.
We are staying at a hotel when we go.
Right. I'm just saying, like, that's just some of the considerations that we made. It was like, okay, how close is this? So this hotel charges $50 a night for self-parking. I'm not lying.
It's kind of a lot.
I'm not lying. And so we were like, are there any nearby that charge less? And it's like one of the just public parking garages, it's $25 a night for 24 hours. So at least it's that, which is still a lot, but like, half. So we have to factor that into that cost.
And Lori is definitely correct. Traffic is not in miles, it's in time, yes. It can take you a long time to get what feels like not that far away.
And it's very similar with a lot of big cities, but
very similar like in New York that way, where in New York it's because you're going through bottlenecks to get through like, bridges and tunnels and stuff to get, to the airport, but, similar feelings of like, it's like 4 miles away. I could jog. I should be able to run to this. Like, what the heck?
Right.
Why does it take me 2 hours?
Thomas is saying cheapest places for gas are Sam's Club and Costco, and Lori Sims says Costco for gas is the place. Absolutely, 100%. And that's the case in like almost every place that you visit.
Yeah.
And also too, like if there's like a Kroger gas station or like some things that are attached to attached to grocery stores can be a little bit more reasonable. We unfortunately let our Costco membership lapse in January because we were
not buying in bulk.
We're not like at our house. We haven't been in our house since August, so we just don't want to buy in bulk right now. But that is the trade-off, is that we have been spending more on gas than we want to.
Yeah. So the next thing is for when you're driving. So when you're in a car and driving, definitely pack like some sort of like plastic bag, maybe some motion sickness pills and stuff like that. If you plan to drive in like kind of like the very windy mountainous type areas. So like for us, when we drove up into the San Jacinto Mountains, it was very windy, very quick elevation gain. Somebody might have gotten a little bit nauseous because of that. No incidents, it was totally fine. But definitely it was one of those times where I
needed him to pull over
we,
at one
we
point.
had to pull over and like...
I was like, this could be bad, and we didn't even think to have...
Unfortunately, this is a learn from our mistakes. We didn't have Target bags or anything like that we'd kept in the car just in case. So definitely have those. It's good to have. It's a good thing.
Yeah. But that's just not even just in those mountains. It's like there's elevation changes even within La Jolla. We drove up this like random mountain in La Jolla just to get to a Thai restaurant to pick up our dinner. And it was the windiest... It was like
at the top of like Mount Soledad. It was like
that's what
crazy.
It's called, yeah. It was like the windiest, craziest thing. And so, yeah, it's just, if you're feeling, because I don't get motion sickness a lot.
I was driving, and at the end of that, I was like, I feel sick.
Yeah. That
was not good.
It was surprising, because neither of us really get motion sick, so.
Okay, so the next thing is, because of all the, like, alfresco dining, indoor-outdoor stuff, like, definitely make sure you bring your hats, bring layers, bring sunscreen, all that kind of stuff. That's super important. And I think most people think of that when they come here. But, like, in addition to that, it's like, if you're in the desert, if you're on the coast at night when the wind comes in and the temperatures drop, you might want like a shawl. You might want something to cover up with a little bit. And if you're doing outdoor dining, while you might have like a heat lamp or like, we were at a place in Little Italy in San Diego recently that had like
a fire features
on the tables.
It was
which
awesome.
Was kind of cool. But it was still kind of chilly. Even with that little fire feature, we're like, I'm still cold. So, definitely having something to like kind of like bundle up with a little bit when you're eating outside is important because it's not always 72 degrees at all times here. Mm-hmm. It can get quite a bit cooler at night.
Right.
So, the next thing is the produce is very fresh and you should eat as much as possible.
Yeah, so you'll see fruit
carrots
stands on the side
time.
of the road. I mentioned avocados at the beginning of this wonderful live stream. and I'll repeat that, get some avocados. But, yeah, it's just, like, even in the grocery store, you're going to see so much fresh produce. It's really cool. And California, like, agriculture is, a lot of it is produce, and nuts. So, makes sense.
Yep. We already did the next one. Layers. Okay.
We did say things get expensive like gas, but we didn't also mention alcohol.
Sorry.
I don't think alcohol.
So the next thing is LA
expensive.
is wide. All right. So the next thing is that if you're going to Los Angeles specifically, it takes a long time to get places, and part of it is that you think of Manhattan, you think of Chicago, they're very tall, north south, right? LA very wide, because downtown LA is actually quite far from like Santa Monica and Malibu
or
and
the
those
coast.
places that are on the coast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that have beaches. But then they also do run pretty far north-south, too, because, LA might run, if you think of it from a perpendicular, it runs kind of downtown LA over to Santa Monica, but then down to, like, Long Beach and, like, Orange County type areas and stuff, too. So, it can just take a long time. I think from Santa Monica down to Long Beach, it's at least an hour, if not longer. And getting to places even from the airport, LAX can take some time. So being prepared for that and understanding it's going to take a long time to get places, super important. Also, real quick, Walter's World.
Hi, Mark.
Mark.
Welcome. So we were talking about you earlier.
Mark, that's for you, bud.
Anyway, so, yeah, that's 100% true, for sure.
I like holding pillows, Mark.
Yeah. Pillow placement. Well, also people notice that we're wearing shorts.
We are wearing shorts.
We got self-conscious about it, I think. Hi, Jocelyn. Welcome.
What's up, Jocelyn?
Thanks for joining, you guys. So we're nearing our end of our California list, but we're talking about fast tips, just if you're visiting California or planning a visit. So you were saying that, yeah, LA is you have to
factor in time, and
too.
that also comes into like your accommodations. So think about what you want to see, kind of map it out. Actually, like try to like put those points of interest on Google Maps or something like that to see what the dispersion looks like, and try to find something that's maybe centrally located or near a cluster of things, so you can kind of like be efficient when you're looking at stuff, because it does take time. Like we were staying in Santa Monica about a little over a year ago when we were down there, staying at a buddy's place, and we were heading out to WeHo, West Hollywood, to check out the Laugh Factory, one of the comedy clubs there. And comedy clubs are huge. Definitely do comedy clubs if you're in LA. There's a lot of good ones.
So
Laugh Factory, and the other one that's really big is Comedy Cellar or something like that. Awesome. So the thing though is that it takes a long time to get to those. So like if the show starts at 7, you have to leave by like 5:30 or something like that to get to it. So you need to like take all that stuff into account as you're doing things. And so just make sure that you're mindful of that stuff when you're booking things, when you're booking hotels, when you're thinking of your are you going to rent a car or not? All that stuff's very important. So definitely think of all that.
And Walter's World has a great suggestion, which we did talk about, a whole food section at the very beginning of these lists. But we kind of said just try all the wonderful California Mexican food. But Mark has a very specific thing to order off of those menus.
Which is carne asada fries if you visit San Diego, and maybe a California burrito.
Yeah, so both of those would be spot on. You could even do a breakfast burrito. That's good too. All right. Okay, so the last thing that we talked about was, which one?
Wide.
Sorry, you've been jumping. So did we do?
All right. So the next one is things that are expensive.
But I kind of mentioned that before. So what did you want to talk about alcohol being expensive? Because I feel like you can find like affordable wine because it's a wine region and stuff like that.
That was funny. It started dictating. So what I would say is that gas is expensive because they tack on a bunch of taxes. When you think of hotel taxes, the extra charges for parking your car, there's just a ton of costs associated with staying in California. And one of the other things is, sorry, I got sidetracked. Alcohol. So drinks can be quite expensive. So even though yes, they produce a bunch of wine, which is definitely something, but
that's what I drink.
When you go to a bar,
yeah,
when you go to a restaurant,
cocktails are
very
so
expensive. Cocktails super expensive, but they also have some very good mixologists here. So you're gonna get some top of the line, mixed drinks and all that kind of stuff. Very good, very worth your time, but it's expensive. I mean, it's New York type prices, right? So you're going to spend a bunch of money for a bottle of beer. And just be prepared for that. Maybe pre-game and then go to your restaurant. I don't know.
Mark, I've never had carne asada fries, so I'm adding this to the list. Thank you for your suggestion. We're curious if Lori Sims has had it.
We're going tomorrow.
Is this like a thing in California that we just missed out on so far? Cool. So the next thing is something to consider if you're coming in the spring / early summertime.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
This is big.
And this actually affected our trip to San
Lori,
Diego.
I think you know where we're going with this.
There's something called May Gray and June Gloom. That being said, it's April.
It's April and we had it too.
And that May Gray is here already with a vengeance. So it's essentially, and this happens also kind of in San Francisco too, but it's like fog that is all over in the morning, especially right on the water. So like if you're staying at a hotel, like right on the beach or something, and that fog doesn't burn off until the sun is super strong, and so it honestly, there were certain days where that fog didn't burn off until afternoon when we were in La Jolla. So it's something to consider, because if you're coming out for a beach vacation, until the fog burns off, it's pretty cold too. So the entire morning might be in the 50s and 60s. So it's kind of a bummer. June gloom, you might actually have gloominess all day too. So
it's also the joke is the coldest winter I ever experienced was June in San Francisco or something like that, right? So it's there's definitely a thing about this. It's all throughout California, and it has to do with temperatures of the water as well as high pressure systems, which kind of cause all that cloud cover to happen, which makes it very cool, which is annoying.
Thomas Reiser says it was gray as heck in Champaign today. That's a bummer. And Waltersville says, is the smog still bad in LA? It's getting better and better by the day, bud.
As far as I can tell, at least.
Yeah, no, we haven't really had too many issues with the smog. We visited LA pretty much every year over the past 5 years, I would say.
Yeah, quite a bit.
At different times throughout the year, and it's been fine. Yeah, Lori Sims says the smog's good. Okay, just checking. What if we missed it? What if we were just only there when days when the smog was it? And the reason why I say that is because everyone told us that Beijing is super smoggy, but we happened to go to Beijing during a week that wasn't. So I'm good. We need somebody else to kind of weigh in and make sure that Lori Sims is going to fact check us. Nick P says it never rains in Southern California, but I hear that they warn you, LOL. It's funny you say that, because I had a boss who's, way back in the day, whose brother lived in San Diego, and she flew out to San Diego to visit him for a week in April, and she's it only rains 15 days out of the year in San Diego. And of course, the week that I go, it rained every single day. And I'm that stinks. But yeah, it's not a very rainy place.
All right, so Mark has a question, which is, let's say I need a pitcher of Mai Tais, What would a bucket of Mai Tais cost me if I am on Rodeo Drive on a Thursday at 1 p.m. in the summertime? Just giving you a specific random question that we all get. I don't know the answer to that question, Mark. I don't know how much a bucket of Mai Tai is going to cost.
Rodeo Drive is going to be a premium.
Rodeo,
all I can tell you is
Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills is going to be quite expensive.
Yeah.
I can tell you I did look up Wally's, which is a place in Beverly Hills. It's not on Rodeo Drive necessarily. And their cocktails for a spicy margarita is $20. So for $20, you can get one margarita, not a bucket of them. If a bucket costs, let's say a bucket is $5, that's $100. And that's a lot of money. So I'm just going to say don't get a bucket of Mai Tais on Rodeo Drive.
This felt like a consulting interview somehow. Like,
if you have a bucket full of jelly beans.
Can you tell me how many manhole covers are in New York City?
A lot.
All right. So anyway, that was like a joke back when we were in college of like what a consulting interview might ask you. Okay, so next one is if you are going to the ocean. Okay, so this happened to my uncle, which is why I have to say it. You're going to be driving. Maybe you're not used to driving. Maybe you're from like New York City or Chicago and you don't have a car. But you're going to be driving because it's California and you park at the ocean and you go and you want to...
Park by the ocean.
Yep. And you want to build a sandcastle for like the first hour, and then the second hour you're like, I'm hot.
Did this happen?
I'm hot. I'm going to go get in the ocean real quick for a quick dip. And then you go into the ocean, and then you come out.
This is a long story.
This is a story. Then you go into the ocean, and you come out, and then you realize that your swim trunks, because you're a guy, have pockets, and your car keys were in, and your phone were in your swim trunks the whole time, and you completely spaced. So that happens to people, right? And so don't do that because you're not used to having your car and stuff like that, and it's gonna hurt your chances of getting back into that car.
Okay. I did not know that was on the list. Okay, the next one is be careful of riptides. Know how to handle them, safety issues. This is actually going to be more of a natural phenomenon safety thing. Understand what you're getting into. So when you come to California, there's two things to think about. When you're on the beach and you're in the ocean, riptides, big issue, right? They pull you directly out to sea. So the whole thing there is swim perpendicular to the riptide to get out of it. You want to escape it, get into normal water, and then come back to the coast. Yeah. So that's number one. Number two is earthquakes. What do you do in an earthquake if you're in California? Because, the one thing that I feel like we all learn in like elementary school is in high school science classes is about like the San Andreas Fault and all the things that are associated with that in California. So, if you're in a car, stop driving, get away from things that might like fall over, don't exit the vehicle, etc. Get away from windows, things that might fall down on you, get next to maybe like an interior wall is a good idea. But just having those types of, if you're from the Midwest, actually, you're probably very familiar with tornado drills and like
right, but I never had to do an earthquake drill. So,
but it's similar, right? Get to an internal wall, cover your necks, and things like that in case things fall on you. Sure. So it's just have those types of familiarities and just understand it because, the worst case scenario would be is you're here and something drastic does happen and you don't know what to do.
Right.
And we were actually in New York when a earthquake hit New York many, many years ago now. And it was just funny because, like, nobody knew what to do, I felt like. Like, people were, like, leaving the buildings and, like, realizing we're under a ton of glass at this moment. Like, I feel like that was not the thing to do. And nobody really knew what to do. So.
Lori asked if we felt an earthquake that was here last week. No, we did not. We didn't even know about this. And now I'm like, did we feel it and think it was an airplane flying over? Maybe we did. Interesting. I have actually been in several very minor earthquakes of like that type of magnitude and have never woken up to them.
Real quick, Iggy, good night. Very glad to have you here.
Oh my gosh, thank you for staying up so late. It is so late in Spain. We really appreciate
And Katie
that.
Smith as well is taking off. So thank you so much for joining us, guys. We really
for
appreciate
those of you guys who have been on for the whole time, thank you so much. And also, I just want sorry, we're not leaving yet, but I just want to say we are not yet ready to announce like when our next live stream is. So I'll put that out pretty far in advance for you all to like put in your calendars when that does happen. We just are figuring out what works for our schedules and stuff. But thank you, Katie, for joining, and thank you, Iggy. Okay, so the next one is that, okay, so we're here in Palm Springs. Palm Springs is obviously like a retirement community, snowbird community in general, but we also saw this a lot in San Diego too, and that's that there are a lot of snowbirds out in California, especially Southern California, apparently us included, but you will notice a lot of out-of-state license plates. So we saw everything from like an Alaska license plate. We saw New York. We saw, ours is Illinois. We've seen so many Illinois ones. That it's just interesting to see how many people kind of like flock to this area of the country during the winter and spring times just to get that amazing weather. Hi, Mark Smith. Oh my gosh, thank you for joining. Hello from Laurel, Maryland. Very cool. Not Laurel, Mississippi, which is where the hometown folks are from on HGTV. Okay, so the earthquake was closer to me on the Inglewood Fault. Okay, so it is 2.5 hours, I would say, from here. So from you felt it, even though it was 20 miles underground. Wow. Gosh, and Lori, you would know better than I do. Are there a lot of earthquakes that are closer to Palm Springs? I mean, there is a big mountain range around here, so there probably is a fault. I just am more familiar with like the San Andreas Fault and stuff like that. And we hear so much about like earthquakes in LA and San Francisco, but are there earthquakes around here in Palm Springs too? Do we know?
Probably.
Is there a fault? I guess geographically speaking, with the mountain here, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is Mark Finley's on too? Hey, welcome, Mark. Oh man, we've got
Mark!
So many Marks joining. We've got Mark Smith, Mark Finley, Mark Walters.
All the Marks.
All the Marks in hour. What are we on? Hour 3? We're in hour 3.
Started hour 3. Okay, so let's get into some real talk.
Did we get?
Have we finished? Have we not finished?
Oh, we did. We just finished. I did say that.
We just finished. So let's get into real talk, guys.
What's real talk?
So travel. Future of travel.
Oh gosh, what are you about to say? I don't even know.
I don't know. We just watched that thing on like the future of business travel.
Oh yeah. Oh, okay. So we joined a webinar yesterday about business travel in 2021.
And I think that like the takeaway from that, right, was that they think that there's going to be a hybrid approach to things like hotel check-ins and stuff like that. They're hoping to like kind of utilize some of the best practices around communication, guest communication, and whatnot. I think those are some of the main takeaways that they're going to try to see, and they're hoping that business travel opens up in the next year or two.
Yeah.
But that it's likely going to be scaled back, at least in the near term.
On the panel that was presenting during this webinar, there were executives from Marriott, from Enterprise Rental Car, from corporate like booking technologies, that sort of thing. It kind of ranged for a lot of different touch points within the travel space, and so a lot of the people were saying that some of the trends included, likely a continuation of contactless technologies, like even once the population is vaccinated and stuff. So I thought that was interesting. That kind of technology had already started happening a lot prior to the pandemic, but now it's rolled out so much more, and a lot of let's say the Marriott executive was kind of talking about how they've noticed that there's kind of two types of travelers. There's the type of traveler who wants to just like check in on a kiosk super fast, not wait in line, not talk to people, and just go to their room. And then there's a type of traveler, likely more of like a leisure traveler lean, that wants, that
To
full
talk to
luxury
the
experience.
concierge, understand what are the places to go to around here. I want to get dinner. What are your recommendations? That kind of thing. And they were kind of caveating it as like maybe somebody's checking into Ritz-Carlton. That's the highlight of like their check-in. It's like a routine that they have, is that they love to ask the person about what there is to experience there. Whereas when I'm there for like business, I'm just like, check me into my room, I'm gone. Okay.
Especially in like Vegas, if you're just like, oh, I don't want to wait in this line, whatever, just having that contactless option.
Did you read
would be
Mark's
hard
thing
to reverse.
about earthquakes? Last earthquake was in El
No.
Salvador. While we had bad water, and so was dying on a toilet on the beach when the earthquake happened.
I've heard him tell this story.
This is the way I'm going to go.
This is it.
Travel diarrhea in a tsunami.
I have heard Mark and Jocelyn talk about this, I think, on one of their live streams, and I was dying.
Mark, I feel for you, bud. That's rough.
That is actually exactly the thought that I would have had too, by the way. Like,
this is how it ends.
Yeah, I'm like this would be it.
What's my obituary gonna say?
Yeah, even after the earthquake ends, it's like I can't run from this tsunami right now. Nick P says they are remarkable. All three Marks, they certainly are. That's a good one.
So Lori is saying, look up the history of Long Beach earthquakes. A lot of faults around here. Interesting.
Yeah. Do we want to actually look up the history of earthquakes, or should we wait 2 weeks until?
No, I'm not going to look it up. I'm going to look it up after we're far away from here.
Yeah.
Because I remember horrifying stories of it back in like middle school science class.
Yeah. Well, also too, like it's kind of we kind of want to go to Yellowstone, right? And
it's a super volcano.
If you learn anything like scientifically about Yellowstone, you essentially just decide that you want to be as far away from Yellowstone as possible. You
just hope and pray it doesn't blow up.
Like while you're there, yeah. But we really want to go to Yellowstone on our way home. So like pray for us. Same with Mount Rainier too, right? Or like there's some volcano in Seattle that is like super overdue to erupt.
It's a hot spot.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, all
anyway,
that stuff.
Let's not talk about it.
Let's not talk about that stuff right now. Like,
No, I'm scared.
Global extinction level events. Let's not talk about it.
Yeah, I'm scared.
So, Mark, still sorry about that.
Oh, we had passed this. I feel kind of bad. I don't know if I'll be able to find it again, but somebody was, I think it was, Low Rollers Craps was saying that somebody was trying to book a hotel. Oh, it was Lori Sims was trying to book a hotel in Hawaii next month, and like all the rates it sounded like are back up to like $300. I had watched the Finleys, which is not Mark Finley's username on this, but Escaping the Empty Nest is Terry and Mark Finley's YouTube channel, and I'd watched their review of like the cheapest hotel in Waikiki, which is up on their channel, and it looked actually pretty nice. So I don't know what the rate of that hotel is now and stuff, but like it seems like you can maybe find some affordable options.
Sorry. So our neighbors,
I don't know if you guys heard that, but
our neighbor's outdoor space has like a storm door that slams very hard whenever the people exit. And they have a lot of, I think, grandkids over there, so like they run in and out of the house all the time. So we might get scared occasionally. From,
and the puppy, yeah, they've got a lot going on.
There's a lot going on. But real quick, because Nick P has a thing, which is that about the Pfizer vaccine and maybe having side effects and stuff. What we have heard, just for anybody out there who's getting Pfizer and is getting the second dose, is that hydration is like a major thing to like make sure you're doing prior to getting the vaccine, and that can really help with side effects. So we didn't know that going into the first one, but going into the second one, probably like
2 days prior, we're going to be making sure we drink a lot of water, electrolytes, and stuff like that, because we've heard that can help like mitigate some of the side effects.
Totally.
So for anybody out there, maybe think about hydrating more.
Yeah, because we're not like big Gatorade drinkers or anything, but even after the first one, I went out and bought some Gatorade just because I felt like I needed something.
Yeah.
Bye, Mark Walters. Thanks for joining. Really, really fun to have you on. He has to prep some videos to film tomorrow. Whoop whoop. Big
Very
hugs.
cool.
Savannah is insane busy this week. Oh, somebody earlier was asking about Savannah actually. Like peak summer numbers, talk to the tourism people, and they are bigger than they have been in 18 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
People get into warm spots, more vaccinated,
warmer,
herd immunity type stuff.
Totally. Yeah. People are itching to get out, you know. But, man, I hope you guys are having a good time. But yeah, somebody earlier was asking about Savannah and just like options for affordable trips there. So Derek and I are hoping to get to Savannah at some point in 2021. We'll see.
Yeah.
Mark Smith says, I only had arm pain 12 hours later after the second Pfizer shot. That's great.
No, that's awesome.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah, no, we've heard different things, and
for those of you guys who weren't on earlier, Derek and I both had minor reactions, like very manageable, but minor reactions to the first shot of Pfizer, so that's why we're expecting.
Yeah, we're expecting to have something for the second shot, but you know, again, it's whatever it's going to be very minor in comparison to getting the actual disease, and it's very much worth it. And so we're very happy to go out and do it. We're going to drink a lot of water, be prepared for it. We're very specifically not planning to drive or do anything big over the next few days afterwards, actually. So we're just going to stay with my grandmother and, kind of hang out in Phoenix for a little bit for a few days so we can, hopefully recuperate if we have any issues and, then get out to our next spot.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
which will probably be northern Arizona is what it's looking like at this point. Like getting out to Grand Canyon, Flagstaff, that kind of stuff.
Yep. Agree, Lori. I mean, I think it's...
Yeah, we agree. It's, it's a minor inconvenience at the end of the day
and
stuff. So very happy to do it.
Yeah.
But it really is about just sharing tips and tricks so people nobody's surprised. You don't want people to be surprised about what they're getting into. So,
yep.
I think we're at the end of
this. We've gone through our whole list. We've been live for 2.5 hours, which has been such a treat because, we have had so many great, awesome fans of the channel return back for our first live stream in essentially a month, which we are so grateful to all of you guys for coming back to join us. We missed you. We really did.
No, it's been fun. We haven't done these in a while, and it's always fun to hang out with you guys. Yeah. And hopefully we can do it again soon.
We're looking at doing another one definitely in May, but next Thursday. Wait.
Not next Thursday.
Yeah, 2 Thursdays from now, is our next shot and stuff like that. So it's just, we're trying to figure out what makes sense, timing-wise.
Where we'll be if the internet looks like it'll likely be good and everything, so we can actually do these.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed our takeaways from visiting pretty much what feels like all of Southern California this month. And if you guys are planning a trip to California, soon or in the distant future, hopefully that was really helpful.
Yeah.
And we really appreciated hearing from you guys about your experiences with California and even with lots of other places too. And we talked about everything from Turkey to Savannah, Georgia to lots of stuff in between.
A lot of stuff.
Canada.
Again, California, beautiful, awesome state, huge, north to south, very, very large.
Yep.
There's a lot to see here. Southern California, it's more than just LA and San Diego. It's Palm Springs, it's a bunch of other places. So definitely check it out. It's worth multiple trips to just see everything down here.
George
and
Mackey,
it's awesome.
you're brand new in the chat. I just want to say hello. And also, you're going to La Jolla in San Diego from Michigan with 3 friends for a surf trip in 3 weeks.
Oh, that's exciting.
Awesome.
That's very cool.
We're just in La Jolla.
All right, so real quick, just for you, George, La Jolla. Places that I would recommend in La Jolla for food. Definitely go to the Cottage for breakfast. Awesome place. They do call ahead seating, so you can like get your name in the list. It could take a while. When we were there, I think it was like a 90-minute wait. But it's very delicious. Pretty decent sized portions, pretty big.
Another brunch place that we enjoyed.
Sweets, very good sweets.
Another brunch place that we enjoyed was
the Shore House.
Shore House.
We really like the Shore House in La Jolla area. That's pretty close to the Hilton in La Jolla, the Curio.
The Curio Collection Hilton, yes, because there are 2 Hilton hotels.
It's called like the La Jolla Hotel Curio or something like that.
You're gonna have so much fun.
Super fun. La Jolla is awesome. Go check out the seals, obviously.
Lori's correct. Wear a wetsuit. If you don't
it's
own
cold.
one,
Yeah, the water,
if you don't own one, rent one.
The water's cold. But yeah, no, see the seals. Unfortunately, one of the big draws used to be, because Dr. Seuss used to write quite a bit. He used to live in the San Diego area, and they had a tree out there in La Jolla that was like the supposedly
inspiration
it
of
was
the
the
Lorax.
inspiration behind the Lorax.
But it's gone now.
It's
so
gone.
Derek keeps telling people about it. I'm like, you can't see it, so don't tell people to go there.
Well, no, I just tell people that that's where it was like inspired by.
Yes.
And we were lucky enough to actually go there before it fell out, and it was beautiful.
Yes. But La Jolla is beautiful. Downtown La Jolla is great. There's another. We can recommend tons of great restaurants. But a lot of them have outdoor seating. But if you want to sit outdoors, I would recommend booking as far in advance as you can, because those are the ones that get booked up first because it's such beautiful weather, etc.
And George, don't forget about layers, because it gets cold at night sometimes, and especially if you're close to the beach and stuff, it can be quite a bit cold, because you know this, but the Pacific Ocean is chilly.
Yep.
So expect the winds off that to be quite cool.
You're gonna have so much fun.
But you're gonna have a great time. You're gonna have a fun time surfing. That's really cool. I wish I surfed. We need to do surfing lessons.
Yep. Once we're fully back.
We need our buddy Asha to get really good at surfing so he can teach us to surf. That'd be great. And we'll get out there.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We didn't know what to expect because we hadn't had a live stream in several months, and you guys really came through with
like
joining. Yeah, sorry, we haven't live streamed in a month. You guys really came through with joining us tonight, and
we
it
really
was just so fun to catch up with everybody and hear what you all have been up to over the past month and connect virtually. So it's just like, it's always so meaningful to us. And it's great to form those connections with the people who follow the channel and just other people on YouTube during this time, and connect with them.
So George has a question, which is, what is everything in that area in regards to COVID nightlife?
Oh, great question.
All right, so
Okay.
San Diego area, like the outdoor stuff is still very much active. A lot of stuff to go do from a bar and restaurant perspective. I think indoors right now are opened at 25% capacity. Still expect definitely face masks and things like that are still very much the norm. Definitely expect to wear those.
Sorry, let me just add. La Jolla is different rules from a restaurant and nightlife perspective than San Diego. So depending on where you want to go to restaurants and go out, we went out to eat in Little Italy and
San Diego,
which is of San Diego, which is only 15 minutes from La Jolla, and it was way more crowded than we had really seen or experienced. And there was even a bar that had a roof, outdoor rooftop.
I don't know why you put that in quotes. It was an outdoor rooftop.
Because it was outdoor rooftop, but it was there was glass enclosure. It just didn't have a roof, sort of thing. Okay. And it was packed. And this was Saturday night at probably like 9 p.m. So nightlife is strong. Be safe, be careful, figure out what you're comfortable with.
Yep. All right, everybody. It was great hanging out. We really enjoy it, and we look forward to the next time. Stay tuned, and we will let you know when we plan to go live again.
Absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for joining. It was such a treat. Have a great rest of your night, and we'll talk to you all soon. Cheers. Happy travels.
Bye.
Bye.